This is the South Florida Radio Network.
Now, Bob Green, I want to tell you something. You're all a bunch of son of a bitches. I just heard what you said.
What did I
You want to get rid of this old kike on the phone. You're going to pretend that you care. Who the fuck are you?
Well, excuse your language now. That's fair.
Excuse your language.
You ignorant slut. You must be Jorge Rodriguez. Welcome to Moe's Employment Agency. Come in and sit down. What's that you're carrying?
Nothing. It's the banner of decency. I need a job.
Well, you came to the right place. First thing you do is burst through the door and say, "Do you know who I am?"
And then what?
Well, then they'll give you the job.
How do you know that?
I'm rubbing my crystal balls.
Thanks for your time.
Now, see here. Where do you think you're going?
I need a headhunter, not a swami.
Swami, huh? Well, for your information, I found the head. It's down the hall to the right.
See what's outside that window?
What?
Take a closer look.
Okay. I still don't see it. What's the idea of pushing me out the window?
I want it to look like a suicide.
It's a one-story building, you moron.
You still looked out the window. Now say it, mister.
Say what? What are you talking about?
Say it.
All right. Live from North Bay. It's the Jorge Rodriguez Show.
This is Learning to Spell with Darnell. I'll be Darnell Jackson, and today we're going to spell the word European. Spell it with me now. European. E-U-R-O-P-E-A-N. That's a big one. Now, let's use it in a sentence. So I said to the guy, I says, "Hey, get away from my car, European on my tire." This is Learning to Spell with Darnell. I'll be Darnell Jackson.
They don't come any better than Neil Rogers or any fatter than Hank Goldberg. Oh!
Obnoxious, foul, and distasteful. The dolphins are cursing, and man, it's disgraceful, 'cause Brian Cox and the rest of them are saying, "Suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker." Words of love they toss in the microphone. The dump button just can't seem to be left alone, and all of this is because they like saying, "Suck my d***, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker." Oh, but they play football badly.
How do you say that?
How did the Patriots kick their ass? When will they make it to the Super Bowl? But with an attitude as bad as theirs.
Say what?
They're tossing our hopes down the stairs.
Oh, man.
Rude, obnoxious, foul, and distasteful. The Dolphins are cursing, and man, it's disgraceful, 'cause Brian Cox and the rest of them are saying, "Suck my dick, lick my balls, shit on you." Yes, they're saying, "Suck my dick, lick my balls, motherfucker." Oh, they're saying, "Suck my dick, lick my balls, shit on you." Suck my dick, lick my balls, shit on you, motherfucker.
Wow. Yeah, first time for Monica for that one. It's funny. The uncensored version is funnier. We'll find that somewhere. We're going to have a guitar man on here at some point. How you doing today, Boca Brian?
Oh, we're fine, and watching the temperature drop as we speak.
Yeah, it's supposed to get like 30-something tonight.
Really?
Boca Brian, who's already... how do I sound now? Because when you were talking to me earlier, it was I sounded very differently. I was
rich and creamy.
I was a blubbering mass of mess when we spoke this morning, because I had just gotten off the phone with Norm. A lot of you people have already seen Jicha's column today, and I'm in a weird spot because I know more than I'm allowed to talk about. And if I say to people, even people that I know, if I tell them that I do know things, I have to pretend I don't know anything. Because if I tell them that I do know things, then they'll nudge me. And I don't want to be a nudge, and I don't want to be nudged about what's going on with Neil. So I had a nice conversation with Norm this morning. Well, it wasn't a nice conversation. I mean, it was nice as in it was cordial and pleasant. It wasn't nice with regards to, what he was telling me. And it kind of broke me up. I'm not going to say anything more than Jicha has in his column. We should have that posted on neilrogers.com, by the way, which is still up and running. And for the longest time, it was just basically a referral to us. You want to find out what's going on, the aftermath and what's going on over there, just listen to SoFloRadio.com. George and Brian and all the other radio refugees went over there, here, and we're doing our thing over here. One of the things that, and I'm going to be talking about Neil a lot, and so are a lot of other people, and if you would like to call and reflect, share your opinions about Neil, this is where you do it, 954-99-0036, and that's what I've been telling people when they email me. Once again, for the reasons that I explained before, I don't have the time, especially during this busy holiday season. I don't have the time to answer people's emails individually, like I'm going to cut and paste a form letter. And I'm also not going to give anybody any more information than is being publicly released. Norm is the official information officer, and I've never been a source for private information when Neil was, on the air. And people in the media and fans and everybody, they come at me as if. It's kind of it's very similar to what I was talking about before. When people approach you and they want to get something for free from you, even though there's no other business that I can think of in the world where that happens, where you can just walk in and get something for free. Likewise, here along those lines, very similarly, walk into a restaurant and order something that isn't on the menu. People wouldn't think to do that. It's like in the song You Be Illin'. Remember that line?
No.
You don't remember that last line in You Be Illin'? Since I just fixed the stereo right now, I do that because Neil actually liked that. When we used to argue about rap music, like I said, you like rap music. It's just, it has to be something that you like You Be Illin'. He used to play that all the time. Remember, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
By Run DMC. He also hated the fact that I would remind him that Run DMC brought back Aerosmith because he liked Aerosmith. Oh, look, and I just fixed the thing, and now it's not working. One of these days.
Yeah, what was that? Is that the bad pot?
That's the bad pot. By the way,
is there such a thing?
As bad pot? Yeah,
right.
It's called regs.
We could use the real term, say bad rheostat.
Yeah, well, it's the hole. It's the pothole. This is the story. The guy walks into Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's the very first verse. Kinda side to side. You ready for this? This is part of the Neil tribute because he liked this song.
He related to the fried chicken?
He's in Kentucky Fried Chicken. And a small fries, Big Mac. You be illin'. And this is how we know that you're illin' when you walk into KFC and order a Big Mac. Who does that? Except a character in a Run DMC song. Likewise, people think, both fans and people in the media think that they can contact me via email or telephone and get me to give them something that isn't on the menu, like private information about Neil. Why would I divulge anything private and personal about Neil? Who does that?
It's not even necessarily that you would do that. It's that they have that. They have proximity to you and
what's
feel.
Reverse jaded? They've come. Oh, not the fans. The people in the media. They know. Well, the people in the media, you got to understand, because this is what they try to do all the time. They try to do investigative reporting, and so they're going to find the source and the inside story and everything.
You are his
We've already
source.
made states. Yes, but the people in the media need to understand that the person that they want information about and from has a radio show and has the ability to put out there anything that they want to be out there. And if they're not putting it out there, then there must be some reason, like they don't wanna. Like they don't wanna, so I'm going to go and get a hold of somebody that does know, because they're on the inside there. They're working with him every day. They know the real story. He'll give me the real story. If I did, and this is what I don't understand from people out there, whether they're in the media or out in the public, if I did open up a mouth about secret shit that I knew about and private shit that I knew about, how long do you think I would be on the list of people entitled to know secret shit and private shit if I blabbed it to the media? And a lot of people around Neil, like Norm, are concerned with that, so I had to had to say things like, Norm, for the love of God, Norm, it's me, Jesus H. Christ. And he's like, all right, sorry.
The press release went out this morning. Beyond that,
the press release went out this morning, and I'm not going to give any information. And should I read it? Should I read it here at the beginning of the show, just so that the listeners and people like me that don't like to read so that at least they know what we're talking about over here. I'll read it. It's on neilrogers.com. It's in the Sun Sentinel, and Eric has been very good about posting everything from Jicha. I think, and I'll email you some links, Eric, if I think that they're worthy. Because I know Ellie's writing a piece, and this lady, Janine, God bless you, Janine, I don't, phone tag back and forth. I said, send me a text. I don't know when she's trying to call me. It must be in the middle of the night or something. I get these voicemails from her. I don't know when they come in. Here's the statement from Norm. And then we'll get into things if you want to call and reflect, and we'll be playing some things just continuously for a while. Then we've got the candlelight vigil on SoFloTelevision.com. I lit my candle. It's kind of a neat thing. Thank you, Alan. Useful. Alan Michaels is useful every once in a while. Did you see the vigil thing, the candlelight vigil thing?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. I lit it. I lit a thing. You can write sing. I just said thanks for everything. I was a little bit broken up. I'm a big fat crybaby. I've already had 3 good, solid, blubbering cries this morning in talking to people. Neil Rogers' friend and attorney Norm Kent released the following statement regarding Neil Rogers' condition on Sunday afternoon. Here is the unedited. Here it is unedited in its entirety. This is from Norm. In an attempt to dispel rumors, rely on facts, and enhance public awareness, the following statement is being released to the media. Over the past few weeks, many fans and listeners of Neil Rogers have followed his medical condition closely. I have tried to provide daily updates, but now I see that that will be too trying. Neil did not go to a hospice to recover. Doctors tell us there is no reason to believe he necessarily will. You see, he faces more than heart issues. As Ronald Reagan had the courage to tell America a quarter of a century ago that he was an American afflicted with Alzheimer's disease, so too must I share with you that Neil Rogers is suffering from a progressive vascular dementia, a very common form of dementia characterized by blockages in the blood supply to the brain, which led to neurological symptoms. The complications associated with Neil's diabetes and the corresponding stroke have functionally impaired his cognitive abilities. He is not aware of his circumstances and surroundings. The progressive deterioration and declination has been rapid, significant since Thanksgiving. Neil is also suffering from sundowner's syndrome, also known as sundowning. It is a symptom often associated with the early stages of dementia, including Alzheimer's. It is an uncomfortable sleep and mood disorder which causes sufferers to experience periods of extreme agitation and confusion during the late afternoon or early evening hours, leading to irritability towards even caregivers or hospital staff. Far from being alone, Neil is on a daily basis surrounded by his longest and most loyal, intimate friends and acquaintances. He has had 24-hour round-the-clock nursing care, and he has also, when lucid, been buoyed by multiple colleagues in the broadcast industry reaching out to him, stirring nostalgic memories of days that once were. We thank you, his fans and friends, for your outpouring of support and affection, as well as your charming online tributes to Neil's influence in your life. But there is no reason for further daily updates. It is time to move on. Together, then, let us use this time to raise public awareness of a disease that places an ever so heavy burden on family and friends, not to mention the suffering it may impose on those so affected, whether you were president or pontificator. Doctors say vascular dementia is even preventable, especially if people start engaging in preventative care at an young age, and stay committed to maintaining their general physical health as we mature. Neil Rogers has been an outstanding talent whose voice on the radio spoke for every working man who ever wanted to rail against bosses or mediocrity. He has been a remarkable and incisive social critic, armed with an incredible memory, biting wit, and tempered, measured humor. Sorry, I'm trying not to get all froggy as I read this. But this is not his eulogy, as he is still very much alive, though not fully the person he once was. As you remember him, recall what he used to say, it's only a radio show. Hopefully in those hours on the air, he taught all of us to press on in our daily lives with an abiding sense of wit and humor. Today, though, he is a patient in a hospice, asking that you respect his privacy and dignity. Visits and calls are no longer appropriate. In closing, let me say that it has been a privilege to serve as agent and counsel for Neil Rogers over a quarter of a century. As we have seen, some of the foibles, faults, and flaws affecting all human beings have sometimes humbled Neil. As demanding as he was, he only sought professionalism on the air and loyalty in his personal life. As ballistic and bellicose and belligerent as he was on the air, so too was he remarkably generous, beneficent, and tame in his personal life. As much of a star as Neil might have been, so too can you be a star in your own life for your friends, your family, and those in need. Make every day count. And that's according to Norm Kent. That one line there, only saw professionalism on the air and loyalty in his personal life, resonates. I hate to sound cliche, I hate to be that way, but that's one of the things that I discussed with Norman, with a lot of other people, and with Brian this morning. A lot of people ask me, did you hang out with Neil and things like that? And the answer was, socially, did we hang out? Neil and I had, I believe, 2 non-work-related dinners together. And even the one that was kind of work-related because it was at a track. Most of the time we were there mutually schmoozing some client or other if we went to dinner somewhere together. There wasn't any need for that. As I've already stated, we spent a lot of time, more time talking to each other than we did with other people if you added it all up on a daily basis, 5.5 hours a day typically, and sometimes more depending on what was going on because we had remotes and appearances and other meetings or work-related activity where we would have to be sitting in the same room, a conference room or a waiting room or something somewhere, waiting for a meeting to take place, waiting for something to happen, and of course we would shoot the shit. And there were times when I had to go to his house on something that was relatively work-related or a favor. I had to deliver a giant poster to him because I had an SUV. What was that kid's name? Jimmy Martin, Ricky. That wasn't Ricky Martin. Jerry Rivera. I think that was his name. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, good memory. Here, this giant poster, man. It was a giant poster, and he had a Corvette with no trunk to speak of. And, of course, I had the Durango that he bought, that he made the payments for me. Be happy to. Happy to, old man. Drop, and you visit Neil's house to bring him something or do something like that, and you sit and you chat. But it wasn't like, hey, let's go hang out or something. Neil had friends that he did social things with, and he had professional people. He had coworkers that he worked with, and that was me. I was one of those, and I would not have been his coworker, his producer, his co-host and substitute host for any amount of time, never mentioned just shy of 20 years, if I wasn't up to his professional standards. And that was what he gave me, and that was the compliment. That was the pat on the head that a lot of other people craved. Alan, who can be a little bit of a suck-up. I like you, Alan. I bust balls. But Alan was one of the people that was, I don't know if he was in line to be Neil's whatever it was that people wanted to be back in the day. I was very, very unaware. People filled me in after the fact about the career that Neil had before I started working with him because I was not a talk radio fan. Technically speaking, I still am not a talk radio fan. Very few shows hold my attention. Nicole Sandler does.
Yeah. Other than that, there's not much to be a
Joe
fan
Castello, when he was doing a regular talk show, I really enjoyed listening to that show. I didn't feel like it was work, like, I got to do my duty because, he's on the network here. I really enjoyed the Joe that Joe Castello did. The show that Joe Castello did, I liked the show that Beast did. I found it funny. I sit here and did my afternoon work while listening to the Beast. I think that there's something, these are people that I knew whose lives I was interested in, so there was a little bit more of a reason for me to listen than just there were some people on the radio. But certainly before Neil, Neil was the first and foremost person that showed me that talk radio could be entertaining. If you had told me, even after I had worked there for about a year and a half, if you had told me that was going to be my career, I would have laughed at you. I would have bet you anything against it. I didn't like it. It was a job. It was work, and I didn't like it. Didn't enjoy it at all. And I got along with everybody. I got along with people that other people didn't get along with much, like Meg. I think I got to contact Meg Green, Brian. What do you think? See if she can
rolling in money?
The Meg Green on... Yeah, well, we'll throw some on the floor and she can roll in it.
Her name's Green.
Yeah.
Well, that was
certainly she's going to have some things to say, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think a lot of the people that... even the people that Neil ripped who claimed that they hated Neil like poison might have a thing to say. I don't believe all these people that claimed to have hated Neil like poison because they certainly sought his attention. They certainly went well out of their way to get his attention for people who claimed not to like Neil. I was not one of those people who sought Neil's attention. On the contrary, I avoided his attention like a ninja avoids the sunlight, okay? Because I was scared to death of the man.
It's scared.
As the midnight creeper, as a part-timer, as a roving producer, as we were, you hear a lot of, you're seldom seen, but you hear and you interact with the people that interact with the daylight people, and you hear stories, and you play the shows that I would play the best of shows on the weekend. I knew once I started working there, that wasn't my first experience. I guess I could go in great detail. My repo boss, my repo agent, who taught me how to be a repo man. He was the writer. Wait, I was the writer and he was the agent. That's how it goes. He used to listen to Neil all the time. And even though he was a right-wing, fundamentalist, born-again Christian Republican, for some reason he got something out of screaming at the radio. And I would beg him to change the freaking station. Put on some easy listening, Charlie. Put on Christian music, Charlie. I'll sing along with you, Charlie. I couldn't stand to hear Charlie yell at the radio. It was awful. It was like listening to a conversation, an argument where one of the parties didn't know that he was being argued with.
Are you saying that he was a...
Yeah, he was a good old-fashioned Florida cracker, saying Miami and things like that. But very Christian, and we would have religious arguments and political arguments all the time, but mostly we would argue about, Jesus H. Christ, why are you listening to this show if you hate this man so much? That fucking faggot, did you hear what that fucking faggot said? I said, no, I'm tuned it out. I'm listening to Led Zeppelin in my head from memory. I'm tuning it out because you two going back and forth in here is not pleasant. So a lot of people claim to have hated Neil, but you can't turn it off. Like he would say, you can't turn it off. Could not turn it off. Bizarre. It was like insanity. It was like I'm in the car with a crazy person here. I've never seen anybody bitch about something that they're eating and they're still eating it. It was bizarre. So I was not a talk radio fan, but a lot of people, like Alan, going back to the point that I started to make, a lot of people like Alan would tell me the stories about all of these people like Alice Rantel and Craig Worthing. And who are some of those other old guard people? And like Steve King. All these people that worked with Neil, worshipped Neil, and wanted to be, I guess, what I eventually became. They wanted to sit on Neil's lap during the show and be the other guy with Neil, because they just worshiped the ground that he walked on. These were radio talk show people, hosts, or in many cases radio talk show wannabes that idolized Neil and wanted to model their act and their program after Neil. Long before I came to this town, long before I heard of talk radio beyond Paul Harvey and Bruce Williams, my only impression of talk radio were those two guys. Who else would I have heard of in the world of talk radio?
You caught Bruce Williams when you were down here?
I caught Bruce Williams when I was driving around from coast to coast taking bus trips with my little transistor radio as I was scanning the dial trying to find something to listen to. And when you're in the dead zones and all you can get are AM stations on the bounce, I had a little AM FM. And I would try
WVT.
Right, as we would approach cities, I would tune my little radio to the FM stations and listen to music and stick my headphones in and listen to some music. But in the hinterlands, in the in-between areas, all you could get were AM stations on the bounce, and most times all you could get on those late-night shows were old, stodgy talk shows. And I don't. Bruce Williams is just one that I can name, because when Neil would talk about him after the fact, I would say, oh, yeah, that guy. I remember that guy. What's doing that? Yeah, I remember that guy. Boosdy. There's probably other people that I heard. I don't remember their names. I wouldn't want to hear their show ever again. Boring, droning people with legal advice and the guests saying all the same thing. Everything that Neil always said about talk radio. I found that to be true. That was one of the first things that I noticed, and I should probably take breaks because you've got a lot of tribute things. One of the first things that I noticed was when Neil would talk about other talk radio, it smacked of honest and true. Like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I heard. Abortion good, abortion bad, this and that, medical advice, blah, blah, blah. Play some tunes. Points.
None of that changed.
Yeah, well, apparently not. No, not. But I had no desire to get into talk radio. I was desperate. I wanted to get in on FM. My naive ass sent demo tapes to the FM stations in this town, country bumpkin idiot that I was. And I couldn't get a fucking call back. So I just sent resumes to talk stations. That they responded to. Overqualified as an entry-level producer / board op. 4 years of DJ training. They were very excited to want to hire me for freaking $5 an hour. You can run boards, you can do production, you got a voice, you can cut spots, you can mix music beds and everything. Yeah, absolutely. Been doing that for years. Okay. I had options. I could have gone to IOD or I could have gone to WINS. WINS was all news network stuff. IOD, I knew just from turning the radio that they had live programs. They were news and talk, and they had all these things going on, and it just seemed like that was more full of potential over there. Maybe I could find something in there. Right. But I was certainly not a talk radio fan when I took that job. I took that job because I needed a job out of desperation. I didn't want to go back to repoing cars. I missed radio. I missed that scabby whore called radio, beckoning me back. You know, with her legs spread. You know you want this. And I'm like, oh, it's nasty. It smells bad. I'm going to get overworked, underpaid, and shit on. You love it. You want to be back in here. The scabby whore of radio is right. So I thought, well, I'll just use this as a stepping stone. I'll get back into radio in this town. I'll make some connections. I'll meet some people. I know that the AMs and the FMs are in the same place. Maybe I'll parlay that into a job back on FM as a music DJ. That was my whole plan. I didn't plan on a talk radio career. Good thing, right, since I don't have one. Let's take a break, and we'll do more things, phone lines, more people want to talk, and things like that. We've got Known As Major coming up to play some sort of an acoustic thing later at 2 o'clock. Ought to give me enough time to vent. What do you think, Brian?
That's fine.
And Brian, again, feverishly, and I looked around. I think I must have given you all the dates that I could find.
Well, I wanted to thank you for that, because you didn't know it at the time, but you were preserving all of these things. Remember, there was some speculation about the old carts being thrown out and lost forever? Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't do that. No. Think
the carts were thrown out, but I dubbed as many of them as I could before that happened.
Judging from the time frame of the topics, I'm guessing this was around 96 or 97. Which was when you moved to Paxson.
Right. Correct.
So then they were going to throw all the old carts away, all the classic stuff. You saved them. You may have forgot that.
No. Here's what happened. The carts were all piled up on a wall. I feverishly, me and a couple of other flunkies, and since I was the assistant program director, I had the ability to delegate. Power. And basically, there was a 24-hour, around-the-clock project dedicated to dubbing as many of those carts onto DAT as possible before the deadline hit when Roy Pressman was going to throw them all out. Few of them got through the cracks, I got to say. There were still a few of them up against the wall, but I tried to grab the important ones. Do you understand? I knew what everything was. I had dubbed most of them. I had the one that generated and dubbed almost 90% of those freaking carts by that time.
You did. I'm impressive.
Thank you. Impressive. And some of us feel like something that is good now will always be good. Like if it was good, if it was funny, some of those classic bits, I thought these are going to be funny forever. And I went to a lot of work putting them on the fucking cart and labeling them just to have them thrown in the garbage. God damn it.
You must have, because you can only imagine the work.
I don't like to do a lot of work. Like I don't want to build sandcastles. I don't believe in doing a lot of work just to have it washed away. I did a lot of work dubbing those bits, and in some cases helping the bit be produced just to have them thrown in a fucking garbage. The masterpiece is some of those things.
Yeah, they are. And so I think the only thing that's pretty much gone is the Zeta stuff. There was no one around. Super Dave. Nobody
cared. Nobody cared like I did. Nobody saw the value of those things like I did. So
why do I hear like that vault opening sound in my head right now?
I'll be doing that when I get to the cassette end.
Oh yeah. I think I might still have some, and there might be some things on mini disc too. I just have a look around because there's some boxes with other boxes piled on top of them here in the studio. I didn't get everything. Because there was a lot. There was a lot of just so many different.
I'd say you got about 98%. That's pretty damn good. There's stuff on here I can't even recall that I did.
Reel-to-reel stuff. Yeah. Stuff on reel. And I dubbed it with care, making sure that the level's right. You understand how anal, and we're late for the break, well, how anal I was when I was dubbing this shit? Like, if the level was off when I started it, I backed the DAT up and waited for the cart to queue up again and started it over, and I made sure the flunkies did the same thing. Said, I don't want to hear any distortion. I want these things loud and clear and not over-modulated, assholes, or I'll stop giving you weed. I don't know.
The levels are very stable, and the only problems I ran into is because they're old,
Right.
Tape's eaten up. And stuff.
Yeah. Oh, the old carts. Some of them were not salvageable, though. Some of them were all garbledy-goobledy, not salvageable. They were on the original cart, which we dubbed some of those bits onto carts that were already so old they should have been retired. Didn't have any fucking pads on them anymore, but that's what we had available, so that's what we used.
A wall of carts.
Oh. They were all stacked up against the wall. Well, speaking of wall of carts, let's have a wall of tribute. Like we're gonna have. Boca Brian's got a lot of neat things to play. We're gonna be enjoying it, until we're done. until we feel like we're done. All right, and then more details, more stuff as the show progresses. 12:30, SoFloRadio.com.
Do you know who we are? SoFloRadio.com.
Millions have converted for fun and profit. Now you too can turn your pagan ways around at Earl Streitz's. We'll convert any goy for just $99.95. That's right. Listen to one of our successful graduates.
Boakim, Shalom, Malachi, Hashalom.
At Earl Streitz's, we'll convert anyone into a Jew.
Malakem, Hakadosh, Baruchu.
Translated means, sorry, I must have left my wallet at home.
Mimelech, Melache, Hamalachim, Hakadosh.
Translated means, stewardess, did you make sure to give me a kosher meal?
Mimelech, Mahalache, Hamalachim, Hakadosh, Baruch.
Translated, yes, Rabbi, the check is in the mail. Yes, you too can convert into a Jew for just $99.95 at Earl Streitz's. Act now and get a free yard-side candle for just $10. Earl Streitz's. We'll convert any goy for just $99.95 or more if we can.
Hamlachem. How the hell am I supposed to read backwards, for Christ's sake?
$1.95 at the local pet store. Fuzzy and cute, who could ask for more? Do the gerbil. Yeah, do the gerbil. The best damn pet you're ever gonna own. Well, who we got here? It's Richard Gere with the gerbil and the tube and the matches near. Do the gerbil. Do the gerbil. The best damn pet you'll ever wanna own. You could have a puppy. You could have a pussy cat. But when you've got a gerbil, you'll know where it's at. Pick one out. Look for flaws. Choose the one with the 9-inch claws. Do the gerbil. Do the gerbil. The best damn pet you'll ever want to own.
SoFloRadio.com and SoFloTelevision.com.
When you're ready to actually lose weight safely and steadily while being monitored by a physician, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson is there for you. The family medicine practice was established by her father in 1956 and continues as a medical practice that now specializes in weight reduction. Dr. Kim Jacobson joined the practice 20 years ago as both a family medicine practitioner and weight loss specialist. The Weight Loss Clinic utilizes a combination of appetite suppression medication and vitamins to produce great results, usually 3 to 4 pounds per week for most patients. Now you can change your lifestyle while still enjoying your own food, just less of it. They offer a choice of 2, 3, or 4-week plans. So whether you just need to lose a few pounds or a lot, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson can help you. They're located at 5454 Northeast 4th Avenue in Miami, just 2 blocks west of 54th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. Call them at 305-751-0091. They'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. That's 305-751-0091. Get started on a beautiful new body today with Dr. Kim Jacobson and the Weight Loss Clinic.
Monday nights will never be the same. Silverman on Sports invades SoFloRadio.com. Join Bruce Silverman and his cast of characters as they take on the world of sports every single Monday night from 7 to 9 here on SoFloRadio.com. Don't miss a minute of
SoFloRadio.com. Give us a call at 954-99-00036. Skype name SoFlo Radio. Mobile users call 954-990036.
You know, gone down the road, stop at Fannie Mae. I'm gonna tell old Fannie what I heard her boyfriend say. Don't stop me talking. I'm gonna tell everything I know. I'm gonna break up the signifying. Whoa, people, somebody's got to go. You know, Neil told Rich, Richie told the bird, and Bird told Annie, Annie told her mother, tell her brother too, don't stop me talking. I'm gonna tell everything I know. You know, like that.
He's an agent provocateur.
yes, you know it's true. I hope you need my love, John. Just $50 for you. Oh, hold me, touch me, use me, bust me. I need my share of love, John. 8 times a day. I love you every day, John. Just look straight at the blinds. I think this is my best side. Get a tight shot of my behind. Oh, hold me, touch me, use me, bust me. I need my share of love, John. 8 times a day. 8 times a day is just a lowball average. 8 times a day is just enough to pay my bill. Ooh, I need your love, John. There's twice this week for you. I hope you need my love, John. My house payment is due. Oh, hold me, touch me, use me, bust me. I need my share of love, John. 8 times a day. 8 times a day. To teach my husband how to. 8 times a day. It's good to see you, Danny Quayle. Love me every day, John. You're always on my tail. Make me scream for pay, John. 'Cause soon I'll be in jail. Oh, hold me, touch me, use me, bust me. I need my share of love, John. 8 times a day. 8 times a day. 8 times a day.
.1237 SoFloRadio.com. George Rodriguez, Boca, Brian, Monica, and known as Major going to be coming up and playing some. Not to be known as Frank Major, or Stan Major. Stan's still out there. I guess I should probably contact Stan. See, this is really bad timing here, Neil. The holiday season, because everything is crazy these days. Just try, even if you don't want to be involved in the holiday season. Have you noticed this? You cannot not be involved. Just try to drive from one place to another and get there in your lifetime. Just try to go put gas in your gas tank. Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry.
I'd like to have Stan call in just to clarify WIOD when Neil started there, I think.
Right.
Neil took Stan's place. They moved Stan 2 to 6.
Right.
To be followed by Rick and Suds.
Well, we should probably make a list of people, and these are people that we've been, I don't know, taking shots back and forth over the years. Neil's been ripping them, and I get a lot of grief because of things that Neil said. Some people understand that, some people don't. I think Stan will be one of those people. As Neil's producer, I'm not going to sit there and argue with Neil about the things that Neil says about other people unless it really bugged me, unless it was somebody that I knew that he was completely wrong about, and then I would get myself in trouble by arguing with Neil. It was a fool's errand to argue with Neil. It was not a good idea, even if you were right, because Neil could argue that the sky is red and make you look like an idiot for thinking that it was blue. And everybody would call up and say, yeah, man, you're an idiot. Can't you see the sky is red? Because Neil had a matter-of-fact way of saying everything that it was like the Jedi mind trick. Neil would say something and everybody was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, the sky is red. Neil would make things up about people that were just so ridiculous and outlandish that you'd think nobody's going to believe that, but he would say it in his Jedi mind voice. And people would believe it as if it were gospel. As if they had just seen the proof right there in front of him, and all he was his matter-of-fact way of saying it. He was a very good liar, if you will, on the air. He was just a very, if he hadn't been the talk show host, he would have been Billy Mays, or the ShamWow guy. Or a preacher, which is a lot of what he did was very much like that, like preaching. He had a very just believable way of saying things. And I always call it that, a very matter-of-fact way. Like, no one who is lying would say it like that, like casually. Like, well, everybody knows. That was one of the things. Everybody knows that blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows that chickens fly upside down. Oh, yeah, of course, yes, chickens fly upside down. Everybody knows that. Neil said everybody knows that. I'm everybody. I know that. And not a lot of people realized that Neil, made shit up and it was a lot of shtick and things like that. But the people that worked with Neil, I would like to think that they knew that. And I got just lumped in there like that. George, yeah, he's echoing Neil's sentiments, whether I was or not, because remaining
guilty
silent,
by association.
Guilty by association, and just remaining silent was bad enough. Because I did, and not in the beginning, because I was scared to death of the man, but eventually over the years I realized that Neil was okay with me and that I could express my own opinion even if it were contrary. Of course, he would use it and shred me, but he wouldn't fire me or hate me because of it. He would just use it for material, which is a nice little lesson. If material is what you get when you don't get what you want.
Yes.
Yes. In life, they used to say experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. Well, in talk radio, material, it's always material. You go to a party, you have a good time, that's a little bit of material. You go to a party and you have a bad time, that's a lot of material. All right? I could have gone to Moksha and watched the Harry Waters performance. That Harry Waters sure is really amusing. A little bit of material. That Harry Waters sure was a very good musician and had a pleasant time. That could have been the story. Or I could have had the story that I got.
That's to real life.
Real life, I was heckling, Roger Waters' son while standing right next to Roger Waters on his son's birthday. That was a way funnier story than what. So see, you could have a bad trip, a bad experience or something, and you get much more material out of it. So obviously, if George is arguing with you, you can make much more out of it. And in a 4-hour radio show, material is gold. Material is precious. He didn't get upset with me. He just made me look like an idiot for disagreeing with him, whatever that was. So I didn't do it often. I didn't want to. I didn't want Neil, tearing me apart. It's easier to just watch him tear someone else apart, even if I disagreed with him. It's like today, I think I'm just going to watch Neil tear that person up. I don't feel like jumping into the pit with the pit bull and letting the pit bull have at my nads also today. I'm just going to watch today, and I'm just going to sit here. And so I wouldn't nod in agreement or anything. I would just shut up. But, of course, the people out there in radio land, they take that to mean that I totally agree with Neil. And they would get just as angry with me as with Neil, except the difference is they weren't afraid of me, they were afraid of Neil. So I caught shit. Sure. They never had the balls to go and tell Neil, either by phone if they were a fan, or but if they were a coworker, a salesperson, management, they never had the balls to go and confront Neil about the things that Neil said. That was my job. I got to be the whipping boy, or the farting dog, as I like to call it. I was the farting dog.
Explain that.
Yeah, Neil farted, and I got blamed. Oh, that was George.
Yeah.
Neil would fart.
You got to check for it, though.
Yes. That was part of my job. That was part of my job description. I run the board, I answer the phones, I dub tape, I mug promo, the producers does a million one jobs. Oh, and also I get to take shit for the things that Neil does. Hey, I get a check, and and he got me a car. The Durango. It was a crappy car, but that wasn't his fault. I picked it out. I could have picked me out a good one, but I didn't. I picked me out a sucky one. Nevertheless. So meanwhile, I know there was a point here somewhere.
I'm so grateful that you don't fart. At least not in my presence.
You're very welcome. No, absolutely not. It's small. It's small. That's nothing. You don't even have to count that as a favor. All right? I'm way nicer than that. Yes, you're not even going to get a silent fart. Great for the holiday season. KJ. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up, we'll have KJ on the show. At some point. That's what I was going to tell you, Boca Brian. That's where my tirade started out. Help me make a list, and I wrote Stan on it. Help me make a list of people that you think are worthy to have on the show. All right. And I will invite them to come into the studio physically. Other people who are...
KJ will come in.
Absolutely, Stan, KJ. Other people who are less worthy, we'll let them call. And if they're in town, come over. We'll give them some water. Sorry, I'm swallowing saliva over here. I'm glad I got that crying out of my system. Not that I'm necessarily done. I might remember some things, and I might just break down and blubber like an idiot on the show. I'm human, and this is tragic. I don't have any positive feelings for my own father. My father figure when I was younger was my brother-in-law. Neil's my professional father figure. My brother-in-law taught me how to do all the manly macho things that every boy/man who lives in the woods should know how to do. Hunt, fish, swim, shoot a gun, row a canoe, gut a bear or a fish. All of these things. Start a fire. Find your way out of the woods when you're lost, which I actually got to employ. I actually got to use his method when I got lost in the woods once.
Could be very traumatic.
Sure, but I followed his advice and I walked out. How do you find your way out of the woods? Walk downhill. Can you think you can remember that one? Think you can remember that one?
Yeah.
Walk downhill. You know how it is. For people who forget that, here's some memory association. Walking downhill is easier than walking uphill, so do that. It's easier to walk downhill than it is to walk uphill.
Right.
So do that. You would be amazed. There was a story a couple years ago. Remember 3 years ago? This couple from Florida went to a park in North Carolina. A park where you pay admission and you go in. Big park, like a big state park, something like that.
That you drive through.
That you drive into and you park the car, and then they went for a walk in a park. It took them like 2 days to find the people. They kept walking uphill. They were on top of a mountain where nobody would expect to find them because this is just, it would take them a lot of trouble and a lot of effort to get up there, and it's cold and nasty up there. No one would ever go up there when civilization is down here. Anyway, walk up a hill. But as far as my professional career and how I make my living, everything that I know, I learned from Neil. I mean, not the production stuff, the dubbing carts and spinning records and using the equipment. I already knew how to do that when I met him. I'm talking about the finer points of being a talk show host and all the important things, like chronics of the death knell of a radio show. I learned that from him. I learned not necessarily telegraphing what you're going to be doing all the time. Keep them guessing. Keep them surprised. Don't be predictable. You're inviting the audience to tune out. Whenever you tell them what's going to be going on, you're inviting the audience to tune out. The only way that they can find out what's going on is to be there when it's going on. Don't give them an excuse to tune out. Things like that. And then just in general, everything. We just sat there. I mean, I had my vacations. At the most, I had 4 vacations a year. When I peaked, my vacation time was 4 weeks out of the year. And all the rest of the time, I was sitting there across from him every single day unless he was on vacation. And if he was on vacation for the past 10 years of his radio career, out of the 20 years that I was with him, I was doing the show. So I was either listening to the master do the show or doing the show the way that I thought the master would want me to do the show. Lots of practice. Lots of practice in this business. And you wonder why I can't really imagine myself doing anything else. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. And I have a recollection of how much fun I was having repoing cars. Repoing cars is not unfun. Repoing cars can be a fun enterprise. We're so late for breaks, but I guess we'll take one at 50, Brian. How's that?
Fine.
We'll just play it by ear. I'm taking longer segments, taking longer breaks. Repoing cars was fun, and it was good money. I went from making like $500 to $1,000 a week to going back to $5 an hour. $5.25 an hour. I don't want to get all crazy. And why? Because that's scat and horror radio. Why? Repoing cars wasn't... it's not that it wasn't fun, but there were politics involved. And here I was, Jethro Bodine, country bumpkin, and I wasn't ready for the kind of backstabbing, backbiting, the people lying about you so that they could take your job. I had zero experience with that. Because in the little bumpkin mountain town where I was at, it never would have occurred to anyone to lie about one of their coworkers in order to get their job. That would have been an unheard of thing. Weird, like a spaceship landing would have taken people less by surprise than someone doing that to one of their friends and coworkers. Well, there's no difference. A friend and coworker is the same thing. You're all in the same tiny little town. You're all going to the same bars together. You're all partying together.
There's no escaping that.
There's no escaping that. And if someone fucks someone like that, the whole town will know. You get promoted at the expense of someone else and got fired, everyone is going to know the story and why it happened. There would be no place for you to hide. You would be a pariah. If you were that kind of a person, you'd have to leave town. Yeah, you'd get that job, but then you'd be the loneliest motherfucker in that town because everybody would know your story. And you're fucking everyone's friend because it's not just your friend, but your entire social group. It's their friend, too. Oh, my God, how could you do that? Sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional today. We can take advantage of the medium that we're enjoying. So anyway, I'm all over the place here. That's fine. I'm entitled to vent. Because this is our forum over here for the people that want to know what's going on. And yeah, and I've been playing phone tag with that chick Janine from Channel 10. Sorry, Janine, back. I'll try you again today.
Any listeners have requests, I welcome their emails to me.
Yes, also.
If I got it, I got pretty much everything.
We got lots, and if we don't have it, we'll go looking for it. And other listeners have things too. They got best of Neil Heath CDs that they've had already. I got those. I got the best of CDs in here.
Put those out.
Well, no, they're not ours. There was charity CDs. I'm not going to put them out.
We should create some.
We'll do something. Well, we got Boca Brian here. He puts his CDs out every once in a while. Maybe that'll be the third CD that we offer up for sale. Is some of the favorites, so the real favorites from the Neil Rogers Show. We got time to talk about all the things that we can do. Sure, we could put a whole bunch of bits. We could do a poll, Boca Brian. Put a whole bunch of bits on there, and the ones that score in the top 20.
Oh, geez, that'd be a long poll.
That would be a very long poll. So a lot of time to work on it. So here's the list that I want to work on right now. The people that I should be contacting, like Stan Major. And I'm hoping that people like Stan, because I never had a bad thing to say about Stan. And by the way, man, hey Stan, I know about you, and I'm still going to keep my mouth shut. How do you like that? Yeah. Stan is an important one. He's the first one on my list because Stan, according to Stan, takes credit for me and Neil hooking up. Stan is the person who claims that who first recommended me to Neil when Neil was having issues with his current producer at the time and wanted someone else to do the show with. Stan suggested me. Neil and Stan were on friendly terms in those days, and they had conversations back and forth. Stan did the evening show. I was a rover. I did the evening show with Stan very often. That was my typical shift, is working the evening. I did sports talk with people like Hank and Sonny Hirsch and Joe Zagacki and Jeff DeForest. And then at 8 o'clock, it was the Stan Major Show for a while there, for those people, those Neelies out there with a good memory. And I did a good job, of course. First of all, I was way overqualified for that. I thought talk radio was boring as dog shit. And easy compared to being a DJ. A DJ, you're mixing music. You're talking up records. You're trying to craft a sound and do this. Being a talk show radio board op / producer, by comparison, was very easy. This guy talks, you play the breaks. You tell him that you make a break sign. He does the out cue. You play the carts. When the rejoin is coming back, you point to that guy. You turn on his microphone. He talks for a while. You answer the phone. Yeah, it was amazing. I could keep myself awake sometimes, depending on whose show I was doing. Stan? Oh, no, not you, Stan. Stan was all right. I board up for a lot of people.
And why not Craig Worthing while we're at it?
Why not Craig Worthing?
Evidently, he's loosing on the streets. Let's get him on the show.
Craig, I don't know if I have any contact information from Craig Worthing, but people out there listening, if you have these people's email addresses and contacts and contact information, you know where to find me, because I'm here.
And Suds will be joining us
Suds will be joining us Wednesday. Absolutely. Louis the Artiste will be here also. So,
even Neil said...
Suds Coleman is a god! Oh!
So, yeah, let's take another break now. We're just taking the breaks whenever the hell we feel like it today.
Okay.
As I see fit. How's that? Because, for a while there, when I spoke to you this morning, I was about 50-50 about doing a show. I was completely broken up after my conversation with Norm. Which involved more details than you're seeing there in the paper. And
well, let's just stay with that. That's fine. Bury ourselves in work, which is what I like to do.
Sure. And I'm going to vent, and I'm going to share stories and invite other people to share their stories. And in the shows to come, we will get some of these blasts from the past on the show, and we'll have a vigil. And Alan, I really like what you did there, but the sign for the candle lighting is very small. I didn't find it right away. I scrolled down to the bottom before I realized that it was right there at the top. I would like it to be huge and maybe have an image of a candle or something on there, Alan, since I know he's listening. It's 12:53, SoFloRadio.com.
The Nicole Sandler Show, weekday mornings at 10 on the South Florida Radio Network.
This is Learning to Spell with Donnell. I'll be Donnell Jackson, and today we're going to spell the word grammar. Spell it with me now. Grammar. Grammar. Now, let's use it in a sentence. My grandma be good. And so's my granddaddy. This is Learning to Spell with Donnell. I be Donnell Jackson.
Silent fart, deadly fart. It can tear your nose apart. You can't hear it, but you can tell. Someone did it by that awful smell. What the hell did you eat? It smells just like rotten meat. Silent fart, deadly fart. I cut one at Kmart. I watched a woman's head swivel around. She was wearing a terrible frown. I walked right out of that place with a big smile on my face. Silent fart, deadly fart. Doing it is quite an art. Let one go, but don't look back at the victims of your gas attack. If you're in church when you do, you'll have to stay in your pew. In nomine Padre et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, I want to know who cut the cheese.
SoFloRadio.com. Radio's dirty little secret. Buy the best custom full-color balloons with your photo, logo, or design that will blow your next party or event away with PhotoBalloonStore.com. Take a look for yourself and see why PhotoBalloonStore.com is the place for full-color, custom-printed photo balloons. Our balloons are not made out of rubber, latex, or mylar. They're made from a durable aluminum foil composite film that keeps them inflated longer than any other balloon sold. 11 inches in diameter, uninflated, 9.5 inches inflated. These balloons can be reinflated over and over again. Cheer on your Miami Heat basketball team at home or the arena with our version of the Miami Heat Dream Team balloon. These limited edition memorabilia balloons are available for only $6.95 for a limited time. Visit PhotoBalloonStore.com for more. Order yours today. We deliver on time and fast. PhotoBalloonStore.com. SoFloRadio.com. Give us a call at 954-99-00036. Mobile users call 954-990-0036. And for those of you living in the past, call Butterfield 990-0036. Skype name SoFlo Radio.
The station that delivers presents
Got a live one here.
a Deliverance Weekend. All weekend long, you can qualify by winning video cassettes of the movie Deliverance.
What is it you require?
We require that you listen to the radio all weekend long.
Don't say anything, just move.
The grand prize winner will be flown to Dothan, Georgia for a canoe trip for two down the Cohulawasi River, including accommodations in beautiful Entry. It's easy to win.
Now let's you just drop them fast. Just take it right off. Get panties. Take them off.
Simply be the 10th caller every time you hear Ned Beatty squeal like a baby. Squeal. It's a Deliverance Weekend all weekend long. From a station that gets you where it hurts. Q95.
Yahoo! Oh!
Rednecks sure love incest, 'cause sex just ain't as good unless it's family, because all us rednecks practice incest. Now I'm my only uncle and it worries me. My Aunt Esther took me with her back to her double wide. What a deal, ain't got no wheels, and inside smelled like something died. She kissed my cheek and winked her eye and said, we're all alone in the house. But I got sick when she gave me a kiss, chewing tobacco in her mouth. All us rednecks sure love incest. 'Cause sex just ain't as good unless it's family. Because all us rednecks practice incest. So come meet my new wife, she's my niece. I just got me a farm with horses, chickens, cows, and pigs. A 4x4 that I adore, with tires that are too damn big. The rear window, it has a gun rack, that's where I keep my gun. A rebel flag and my wife in the back. My neck is red from too much sun. All us rednecks sure love incest. 'Cause sex just ain't as good unless it's family. Because all us rednecks practice incest. My sister is the one over there with the dirty knees. At reunions it's hard to choose who's got the nicest tooth. And I don't like the way my daddy has been watching me.
Yeah, 101, SoFloRadio.com, Jorge Rodriguez, Boca, Brian, Monica, Black Magic Woman, and don't forget, Known as Major is our musical guest at 2. First of all, thank you, Nicole Sandler, for retweeting, and picked up a couple of followers on the Twitter page that are people that I've known that just didn't know that I was out there tweeting, so they found out about that. Thanks to Nicole as the network goes on. A lot of listeners today, thank you very much. For the people that are listening and writing and emailing right now, like Carl, for example, I just sent him a link to Wonder Radio. Doesn't know, how do you find us how do you get you guys on a BlackBerry? BlackBerry is the devil's tool. Notice how I've changed my tune over the years. I used to knock the Apple products all the time, and rightly so. I take back none of the things that I've said, because I always said, my very first sentence when I start bashing Apple products is, nobody makes a slicker, glitzier, nicer, more put-together piece of equipment than Apple. But, there's a big but, and then I go on an hour-long tirade about how evil that company is. This device, the iPhones and things that Apple makes, are made for the Internet and interacting with the Internet, especially the streaming audio and the Bluetooth. And nothing interfaces with the Internet and my car and Wi-Fi better than this freaking iPhone does. BlackBerry, on the other hand, is made by the devil. So, Carl, I just sent you the Wonder Radio app. Wonder Radio is a great app that works with everything. And so far, it's the one. It's been the stump breaker. When your phone has you stumped and you can't figure out how to get us, Wonder Radio has been the app, whether it's the iPhone or, iPhone you don't even need an app. But BlackBerry, Sherry's got that, the T-Mobile Touch My Thing, something.
I heard that about Sherry.
Something T-Mobile, T-Mobile Touch This. And Wonder Radio works on it.
Yeah. Oh, I was only going to say the Metro using toss.
Yeah. Nevertheless, so far, Wonder Radio, she installed it. It worked like a wonder, just like that. And so there's your answer, Carl, and I wrote you back. And he said a bunch of other very nice things about us, and we got 3 emails from people. Thanks for doing the show. It's very therapeutic for them, the fans, and myself. They can tell that it's very therapeutic for me, and it's very therapeutic for them to be going through the memories. So all you people that are aware that this is going on right now, please, mail it out. send out a mass mailing that this is going on, because a lot of people still don't know that we're here, that are going to want to be a part of what's going on right here. We're also going to need help. We're going to need help from the audience finding, because you know that's going to happen, Brian. And by the way, is that collection of DATs the ones that came with like that big dog-eared red folder?
No.
That I gave you? No? That's
I didn't get a folder with these. No.
Okay.
I got 3 bricks of DSS DATs.
Okay. With just bits. Right?
Oh, yeah, bits and drops.
Okay.
But the drops, that's speeding me through this download, because we already have those.
Sure. Well, that's the bulk of the original library right there from the olden days. A lot of the public domain stuff that was sent in by fans, things like that, things made by companies that don't exist anymore. I'm proud of that collection.
The great Rock Comedy Network.
Sure. It took me a long time to amass all of that stuff. Other people, and I wasn't told to, this isn't when somebody told save all this stuff. I'm a pack rat, especially if it's something that I feel is valuable. Some of those bits, and this goes all the way back to my beginnings in this business, in the talk radio business, at least with the Neil Rogers Show. I went from thinking that talk radio was an old, boring, stodgy piece of shit that nobody would want to listen to. At least I was a young guy. I was like 23, 24 around that time. And here are all these really funny comedy bits that I was unaware existed. Wow, these are funny. This old man's playing some funny shit here. Wow. Where'd all this come from?
You young cock of the walk, you.
Yes, I was a whippersnapper. I snapped my whipper all day long. And I had no idea that there was recorded audio comedy. The closest thing to audio comedy that I was aware of was, of course, George Carlin and Bill Cosby. They did records. I grew up listening to the Cheech and Chong records, Firesign Theater. Frank Zappa had some funny songs, and that was it. I didn't think that there were people doing actual comedy sketches. I guess Firesign Theater is the closest thing to actual theater of the mind radio audio comedy like that. The George Carlin and Bill Cosby stuff, that was just them doing their comedy shtick into a microphone.
Yes.
So I had no idea that there were produced, American Comedy Network and Rock Comedy Network and people like Boca Brian that did song parodies. How would I have known?
You have to tune in the AM dial for that.
Right, and young people don't do that. Not anywhere that I was. The radio station.
With one exception, and it's very sad. When he was on Zeta 4, it was a dynamite show.
I heard that, and I got that a little bit here and there, but usually I wasn't up that early in the morning, and I didn't listen to a lot of Morning Zoo. Right.
That was the funniest part.
I didn't listen to a lot of Morning Zoo kind of stuff in those days. I liked music. That was me. And that goes for a lot of people. I don't think anybody can blame me. I got to this town, and it was still new to me because I went from a little country bumpkin town where we couldn't get any other radio station except for the abortion AM radio station that I worked on. So for a while, when I first hit this town, it was novel. They had music stations that were new to me. I got tired of it really quickly. Didn't take me much. Hang on, I got a hum. Okay, now it's gone. Didn't take me much. Didn't take me, less than a year before I was already tired of all the music they were playing in this town. I said, God, what a stagnant place this is. Not like it is now, even more rich and vibrant, right? It's a shadow. It sucked then. It sucked 20-odd years ago, and it's a shadow of what it used to be then, which is too bad. Too bad there. But definitely we've got to get Stan on, because Stan takes the credit for it. Think I should contact Marvin?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
Of course.
I'll pull out the Marvin bits.
Sure. I got Stan, KJ, of course, Craig Worthing, Randy. Should invite Randy, to call in.
You know what would be great? Well, say if Sud shows up on Wednesday, have Marvin on.
Okay.
That was his producer.
Sure. Good idea.
Maybe they can battle it out. Who knows? I don't know if
there's a slap fight. I stayed on good terms with Marvin, just not in regular touch. Hello, Kevin, the Idaho Jew, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're doing fine. How you doing?
Hola.
Hey, hola.
¿Qué vuelta?
¿Qué hola?
When you brought up, Neil on Zeta, it's funny because I've been down here since 1980 originally, before I moved up to Idaho for a couple of years, and I had never heard of talk radio myself until my high school days, back in the late 80s, when Neil Rogers took a couple of pop shots at a couple of DJs from the old KPX over at Piper High School. Mm-hmm. And he got them in the newspapers, and it's like, and that's when I started actually calling and listening, and it's funny because I've got a whole bunch of friends from high school that are asking what's going on because, they know I've worked with you, and I've turned them all over to SoFloRadio.com, so hopefully they're all listening, and it's really funny how how radio has changed around here. I mean, I do remember when it was on FM, and then everything was AM.
Right.
And it's funny how, I mean, when you've been down here forever, it's not a lot of people notice how radio has changed. Everybody just kind of like goes to the next phase, and then, that's all they remember. They don't remember K102. They don't remember Zeta 4, and then, very few people remember that WIOD was talk radio. And I grew up on you and Neil and Boca. I grew up on Phil Hendry before I left. I grew up on Rick and Suds. I remember Aaron Summers at night with Real Sex with Sex Talk with Aaron Summers. I mean, back in the day, because when it came to music, there wasn't anything. It was the same old crap. I mean, I knew that every hour on the hour, the new Duran song was going to be on. Big freaking whoop.
Hey, Brooke. I'm not gonna invite Brooke, by the way.
Good. How about Liz Wilde?
I don't know. Take that under advisement.
How about Joyce Wilson?
Was she wild?
How about Debbie Ellis?
What are you talking about?
There's an entire band showing up with drums and everything. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
I thought they were going to do an acoustic set. Oh, they're going to start to set up. Good Lord. All right. Sure glad we're keeping it under control. Oh, well. Life goes on.
Well, I just wanted to call in and, just reminisce a little bit because, it's like everywhere I'm going, if I go to karaoke, everybody introduces me as, the Idaho Jew, and people turn, he works with Neil Rogers' old producer, and I was hounded the whole entire weekend. But people say, how's Neil? I'm like, here's a card.
Well,
SoFlo Radio.
We can have a Daffy McCallum tribute.
Sure.
And I've been telling everybody, remember the old stuff. Give George a call, give Boca a call. Start asking for some of the old stuff. Start reminiscing.
This is right. This is where the vigil is. Alan, make the candle thing bigger, man. People, I couldn't find it, and I was looking for it. I want people to find it that aren't looking for it. I want, bang, light a candle for Neil. Write down your thoughts and your memories and whatever you want.
Well, you know me with Facebook, so I'll see what I can do tonight when I get back into the house, and I'll see if I can word out bigger and better.
Okie dokie.
Where's Jenny Wren, by the way?
Jenny who?
Jenny Wren.
Jennifer Rem? I'm in touch with her. I think I just found her on Facebook. That's a good Jen Rem.
Oh, but Boca, you know what you could play a little bit later? Two of my old favorites, Paxton Screw It Up and Here I Am, A Happy Place.
Oh, yeah,
Paxton Fucked Up, is that the one you want?
What?
Paxton Fucked Up? That's the name.
Yeah, Paxton Fucked Up. And you also had QAM, A Happy Place.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have it on the next break.
It's called Happy Place.
Well, when people listen to it, they'll understand.
Absolutely.
There are a couple of things I remember,
All right, Holmes.
So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good show for the rest of the day, and keep in touch. Ciao,
absolutely.
Take care, guys.
You bet. And I want to, because I don't want to rush him off, but I just wanted to really quickly thank David. Thank you, David, for the Craig Worthing contact information. We will definitely get him on here and chat. Obviously, met Craig Worthing a couple times. Craig Worthing, one of the few people that Neil worked with, and never had a bad thing to say about Craig. Had bad things to say about the way that he was treated by the industry and Steve Kane. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have on the show, Brent. Steve.
I don't think that would be too hard to get.
Okay, no, we could have him on the show. I don't know if I want to.
Tell Steve Kane to put a lid on his ego.
Because Neil genuinely did not like the man. That's not shtick. I don't know. I heard that he went to see him. I don't know if that's actually true or not. And then one of the people that listens to him, did you hear what Steve Kane and Brian Craig said about you? And I'm like, they're sending me an email asking that as if, how is it possible that I would have heard what Steve Kane had to say about me? How is that possible in any way, shape, or form that I would have heard that.
Was that the liberal Steve Kane or the right-wing Steve?
Yeah, no, the more recent Steve Kane. Joe Castello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, everybody. What's up, Georgie?
Yo, chillin'. How you doing?
It's sad, man. I want to participate in the vigil. I'm
absolutely
monitoring what's going on.
You're as worthy as anyone.
Thank you very much.
I've got some shows with you and George on that.
Right.
Well,
Joe,
absolutely. Well,
Joe, for the people that don't know, I mean, Joe was my first producer / co-host when Neil said, and I quote, "I think George ought to do the show." He didn't say off the air before that, hey, I'm thinking of letting you do the show. How do you feel about that? He didn't say that. It was on the air, and he said, "I think George ought to do the show." And I said, and then after I cleaned myself off, I said, "Okay."
It goes back before that, even when you first came over to QAM. Just from my perspective, I was working in a warehouse not long before that at Riva Yamaha in Pompano, listening to you and Neil, and then obviously Phil afterwards, thinking talk radio dreams. And then I got a job at 560 because that's where I could get a job, and it was like, oh my God, this is all sports. What's going on here? This sucks. Everyone's a hardcore sports nerd, and no one's really talking about fun things like I used to listen to. And then, not far afterwards, you guys made the deal with QAM, and then you came in, and I would imagine you recognized the exact same thing. And you and I got to talking and maybe recognized that I wasn't a sports nerd, and you invited me to be the associate producer, the guy who helps load stuff into the DCS, and the third-party guy that was at the old studio while you guys, I basically played the spots early on and got some interaction with Neil that way, and then when we moved all into the same building, I was around more often. I just have to say it's terrible because if I have a mentor in my business, listen, I'm not going to be Neil Rogers was the guy. He knew how to do it right. He is the guy, and just this is such a terrible time right now to think that the way it ended on QAM was such a travesty. The way the show was disrespected towards the end. I listened to talk radio. The other day, some of the language I heard on that station was so harsh. Had Neil been allowed to say those same things, the ratings would have still been through the roof. It was definitely at first. It's just terrible, George. It's just terrible. This is affecting me in a way that, you guys had so much to do with my career. Now that it's not going so great, I could blame you.
Right.
But I won't do that. I'm still very happy.
Choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe was a big part when we first were moving the equipment into the studio for the premiere of the Neil Rogers Show. Joe and I had to tag team dubbing bits because only one person could dub bits into the DCS at the same time. And Joe and I, man, tag teaming. Now you, now me, just taking breaks to take a nap, drink water. We were there until 9 at night, the night before the show, just to get enough material in there for him to do that first show.
Oh, see, I didn't know that was Joe too.
Yeah, it was, and it was only me and Joe. Nobody else was even available or interested.
No, they were not interested. And I remember putting Tar Baby into the DCS several times. That's why Tar Baby became one of my favorite bits of all time. Just so much great comedy out there. The whole South Florida. I don't know if people realize, but when you step outside of South Florida, we are desensitized to things that other people still are very sensitive about, and a lot of that has to do with Neil. We just heard conversations about religion, about homosexuality, about politics, about food, about going to the bathroom in your pants. Other parts of the country did not and still do not get. South Floridians are very different because of Neil. It's a shame that he ended up hating the place. But we are all affected by him and by you. And I got to say, my time there, very important to the person that I've become. It's just so sad. So what is the status, Georgie?
He's, what I can tell you over the airwaves is exactly what Jicha wrote this morning. Or I guess the article came out yesterday. I read it this morning. I didn't know that because I was like, I'm not reading the Sun Sentinel like I used to. Wait, I never did. So it's he's suffering from a form of dementia, and and he's in and out of lucidity. Is the status right now?
I think Jicha had a line where Neil's voice was booming from car to car at stoplights in South Florida, and that is my experience. I would run into people, and they would be rocking out to Neil, and Neil would be making some people laugh and pissing off some people, and that was part of it. And to think about, if you want to go bigger politically, Neil really was a liberal voice on the airwaves here in South Florida. And name me another one. Try to name another one.
In this town, no, there wasn't. They might have started out
Carlo.
Okay.
I have no idea who the guy is.
Neither does anyone else.
I only know it from the driving home, the whatever.
With Bob DiCarlo.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know that from.
And you wonder why we're getting, everyone's getting all conservative and screaming and yelling. You've got Beck and you've got Rush and you've got all these people on the airwaves here in South Florida because they're easy, they're cheap, and they're obviously being put out there for political purposes. When we had Neil, this place was a bastion of liberalism. Come on. And it's just sad. It's just sad.
It's very sad.
A guy like Neil, that personality will not exist anymore.
No.
Because management will never allow a talent to get bigger than the management.
People always say that, Howard, and they compare Howard, and I guess it's very difficult to explain Neil to other people out of the market, and sometimes we would say that it's, because I would say it's like South Florida's Howard Stern, only funny, only actually entertaining, as opposed to a state of mind like Howard is. I don't care who the fuck thinks that. I never heard Howard. Howard has never made me laugh or think or want to quote him, and Neil would do that daily. Before the very first commercial break, Neil would make me laugh and think and say something that was quotable, that was something that not just anyone would have said or thought up.
Joe, when was the first time you heard Neil or of him?
I think I was in 7th grade at Pines Middle School. My friend Bill Slash, who appears on the show from time to time, was listening with his father and basically got me going on Neil. And I would listen here and there. And then when I was going to BCC, Central Campus, represent, I would listen to Neil coming out of school. And that's where I really got interested in talk radio. First of all, you mentioned making you think. Who does that?
Yeah.
Nobody makes me think anymore. Neil's conversations would extend so far beyond the show to the point where even now, groups of friends that I have will get together and we'll talk about subject matter from years ago that was brought up on the Neil Rogers Show. And this is a perfect example of the dumbing of our society, of our civilization, that you cannot talk about any issue of importance, whether it be what you guys did with Elian, remember that?
Sure.
That was you guys were right in the middle of that service that Neil provided during Hurricane Andrew. What happened after September 11th, something we were right in the middle of. He was the one person who had good judgment to make sure things just put on the news. This is a tragedy. This is a terrorist attack. They were going to keep going with the sports talk. That's what they're going to do.
Right.
And what other radio host right now has the guts or the willingness to talk tough issues for any longer than a couple of moments?
Right. None.
Because they know that the American public here in South Florida, they might reject it, and they have a lack of courage. And Neil always had the courage, or you might want to call it he didn't care what the masses thought. But my God, man, we are worse off because of it. Where can you hear anything that matters?
Right.
From any other perspective other than the right wing? And you don't.
Right. It's just us. Nicole, you, when you were doing the Daily Show. I mean, that's all that's left. And, of course, we're not on the air, so there's nobody on the air that's doing it.
Where are the listeners, though? Where are the Neil people? And I think Neil would have been the first person to say that they're so apathetic, that contempt every good talk show host has for his audience. That slight contempt, knowing that, the second I'm blown out of here, 2 weeks later, they're not going to care. And that's exactly what a lot of the Neil audience did. They just said, well, the one guy in management who made the decision at so-and-so company has that power, and I'll just listen to whatever crap they put on.
Right.
And we're living it. We're living it, and we're dumber for it, and we're worse off for it, and it is a tragedy. And Neil's sickness and I would love to know, there's a million questions I want to know, George. Like, don't you find yourself curious what Neil's position is? He had been so opinionated his whole life about death, about life, about religion, about all of these things. Well, here's a guy who made his life and his living giving his opinions, and right now he is at the end, and I would love to know where he stands on these things. Neil was a measuring stick for all our ideas off of.
There is nothing. He's not one of these people. I mean, I've known people in my life that they talk a good game, and then when the Grim Reaper's in the room with them, they do a reversal. You know, he's not doing that.
Of course not. Of course.
No. Neil made the best of his life. He believed that life was for the living. He didn't believe in funerals. He didn't believe in dwelling on death, and I have no doubt that he hasn't changed that position at all. He's making the best of it, the best he can.
As sad as it is, and it is very sad, because, again, we're just losing an iconic voice, and there is no one that has the capability to replace him, because management around our area will not allow that to happen, because you cannot talk about important issues anymore. But Neil, as sad as it is probably completing one of the most successful lives in the broadcasting industry as possible. You know, George, that the worst thing that could have happened to Neil would be for him to live to 99 years old and become decrepit and pathetic and one of those people that he always mocked. Instead, he is checking out right after the prime of his life. I don't know if that... All I know is that I've got a grandmother who's wondering when the time is going to run out and hoping that day comes. And, Neil is doing it right, I guess.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to see him in his 90s in a wheelchair either, but I really thought he was going to have a lot of time to enjoy, his retirement.
It's only been a year.
I know. He had a year of retirement, and I thought that he was going to have 10, 20 years of tearing it up, blowing that money that he worked so hard for, traveling the world, doing the things that he always enjoyed doing when he was on those long-ass vacations that he'd be at. I didn't think it would be like this. I'm really, and I was in denial. I was in denial for the first part of it. Neil in the hospital? Yeah, he's been in the hospital before. He'll get his procedure done. He'll go back home and just continue tearing it up.
It's just terrible. But one thing that is good, I think, is that everyone is taking notice. And when I say everyone, anyone that had ever been affected by Neil, positive or negative, across South Florida, is taking a few moments to think about this, because this guy affected us, those of us who lived here and grew up in South Florida, in such a way, and there is not so much as a statue to his name, which I think is wrong.
I know. We're it, man. We're the statue.
We're it. Right? And like you said, most listeners grew up listening to Neil. They heard Neil all their lives. And there's nothing there. We're doing our best to keep it alive.
We got the virtual statue, and the torch is right here, man. It ain't going out.
All right, what are you guys doing? I know you got a vigil going, and there's something on.
I got a candlelight vigil, and we're gonna little by little. I'm gonna be in touch with a lot of the blasts from the past. I'm making a list, Stan Major, Craig Worthing. Gonna try to get Randy, Marvin, all the people that were part of Neil's life, professional life, that the audience has heard him talk about over the years, both good and bad to a certain extent. You're going to try to get them on, in the studio or on the phone as the days go on, and we're just going to have a vigil.
And as time avails itself, Joe, you're welcome to contribute any way you like. I mean,
absolutely.
If you want to sit in on the shows.
Happy to. I want to be there. I want to be a part because I'm very, very proud of my time working on the show, because that show really was something special beyond the idea of talk radio. And I find myself, and I was going to ask you this, both of you, do you find yourself having a little animosity about those final years with the Joyce crap? And I don't know if you've listened to the station lately.
That's a joke question, right?
You mean W1.3 QAM?
You do understand that all of those rules that you guys were forced to live under for those tail-end years of the show that diminished the show and that were all BS.
They're gone. Dude, they were gone while we were there. We were operating under a double standard while we were there. Neil would talk about it all the time. The sports guys can say whatever the fuck they want, and we can't fart.
Like the word douche. Douchebag.
Right.
Heard it. I ever heard douchebag. What, Dad?
Is there any question that it was? It's just like what the right-wingers do with the language thing. They know that the people on the left are the ones that like to pepper their language, so let's take away their vocabulary. That's what they were doing at QAM. The sports guys, they don't need these words, but Neil and George, they do, so let's take those words away. And then as soon as we're onto the building, here you go, you can have those words back.
Whatever the history books show, obviously, do these kind of things get written down? Do they get remembered by anyone other than us, Boca and George and myself? But Neil had a lot of wisdom to impart continuing on and was completely handcuffed for the last, what would you say, 4 years of his on-air career?
Definitely, whenever the Jackson, the Janet Jackson thing hit, but definitely for the past two, it was almost impossible, where all we did was sit there and second-guess every word that was going to come out of our mouths. Double entendres weren't okay. We were taking sounds out of bits that sounded like fart sounds that weren't fart sounds.
Beasley's directive was to kill off that show.
Yeah.
And that's why I got enraged last week when I threw it to Joe Bell to be the official spokesman.
Yeah. What a comment.
Mortal enemy.
Yeah. Neil hated him like poison. No pun intended.
It makes no sense. And again, it comes back to the average person out there. I don't know how willing they are to step up for things that they like, but come on.
Right.
And, it's just very sad. But
this
guys,
is where it lives on. There isn't a statue in this town. This is where it lives on. All of the bits, Neil didn't produce bits. He played them. All of us, Boca Brian especially, with the help of sometimes me, we produced the bits. And Guitar Man, and KJ, and people like that. And the National Comedy Services. We were the ones that had to sift through the piles of bad comedy. So, spread the word. It's here. You want to remember Neil and have something to say and turn people on to the Neil spirit will live on. I'm going to keep it in a jar over here.
What is the status of bits with Neil's voice appearing?
Whatever. We're going to play him. What? You can sue me. Take it all.
No, I'm unearthing. Oh, are you talking about legally?
Legally? Whatever. Fucking sue me.
Yeah. Because
usually there's no mention of the calls anyway in those whenever there's a Neil voice.
Like it matters.
It's not.
They say they own the rights to Neil's voice. Yeah, right.
I mean, if I'm lucky enough to find the Zeta 4 stuff, I mean, what's it matter? Zeta 4 is long gone anyway.
Sure. They're not going to play it.
What? Zeta 4. I don't know, guys. Listen, I've taken enough time already. I want to thank you for having me on the show, but it's
always a pleasure.
Time. Look, you learn your trade, if you want to even call this a trade, from someone's style and their presentation and their delivery. And George, there were often conversations that went back and forth that you filtered on to me about how to do this business, how to keep it going, how to do what we do. And now Neil is moving on. It's very sad, and the community is worse off because of it.
Right on, man. All right, guys. We're going to go play some more. We're like very bit intensive, bits and clips and things like that from the past. How
many times have you played the Bridge Tender?
I don't know.
I played it last week, but I'll play it again.
Last week? Not enough, man.
We got a lot.
Okay.
Asshole.
All Bridge Tender all the time radio.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what everybody wants.
Sure. Right.
You want.
All right. I'll talk to you later. And there's a story. A lot of these bits like that one have stories behind it. So I guess as we play them, I'll tell you the story about how that came to pass. 28 till 2. All Bridge Tender Radio. SoFloRadio.com.
Why bother listening to those other douchebags while we've got everything you need right here? SoFloRadio.com. Radio you missed.
Hey, buttheads, it's the 1 to 2 hour.
He is still the world's biggest asshole, Tom Denenberg. Tom Denenberg. Thank you.
This is Tom Denenberg. If it weren't for me, there wouldn't be a 1 to 2 hour. Can't you think of anything better to talk about?
Tell that Tom Denenberg to grow up. Oh!
If you like to eat a lot, oh yeah. If you like to eat a lot, oh yeah. Then you gotta like Neil a lot. Gotta like Neil a lot. Gotta like Neil a lot. We like to eat a lot. We like to eat a lot. We like to eat a lot. We like to burp a lot. We sure burp a lot. If you like to burp a lot, we like Neil a lot. Then you like Neil a lot. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh Neil. We like to eat a lot.
I was calling about the wabbits you have for sale in the paper.
Okay.
What kind of wabbits are they?
Okay, I have some lops.
Yeah.
And I have some lops, some spotted lops, and some solid color lops.
Oh, wonderful.
And I have a straight-eared doe, and I have 2 dwarfs.
What a dwarf?
They're small rabbits.
Oh, okay. We have a farm. And we like to play with the wabbits on a farm. You wouldn't happen to have any, like, little wabbit handcuffs?
Any what?
Little handcuffs for a wabbit?
Handcuffs?
Yes.
No, sir, I never heard of them. What,
Well, we use them when we hunt them on the farm. We like to hunt the wabbits. And we take them and nail them to a tree by their ears and then skin them alive.
Do what?
Hello?
No, if that's what you're going to do with these rabbits, sir, I couldn't sell you a rabbit.
We have a little game we play called All Rabbits Must Die.
No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. I wouldn't sell you a rabbit for $50.
I like to hunt the wabbit.
Well, that's okay. You go out in the wild and you hunt rabbits, but these aren't for kill.
I like to put them in a little pen and then hunt them down unmercifully.
No, sir, I'm sorry. Couldn't sell you a rabbit.
Sometimes we even spear them through the head with a rusty water.
Hi, this is Dwayne Stahl for Black Teeth, and you're listening to the 2 to 1 hour.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about bridges,
about
cars, and boats that you talked about earlier.
About what?
Bridges, cars, and boats.
No, we're talking about bridges over the causeway, not the ones in your mouth.
I don't have any, my friend.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Calm down, sir. Take a deep breath.
Dandy. Those are regulated by the United Corps of Engineers. You knew that, didn't you?
No.
Well, it is. All bridges over navigable waterways.
See, if I knew that, I wouldn't have been asking, see?
What's that?
I said if I knew the answer to the question, I wouldn't have asked it in the first place.
Okay, well, all I'm saying, sir, is that the United States Corps of Engineers are the ones that regulate bridges over navigable waterways.
Over what?
Navigable waterways.
Yes, sir, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's up to them to decide what time the bridges should not be open to the marine traffic.
Yes? And what time should they not be open to marine traffic, sir?
I'm telling you that they come up with the times.
Well, what is the time?
I believe it's at rush hour times, sir, that they are not open to marine traffic. Other than that, they are open to marine traffic.
So, in other words, any schlep with a boat can come along and back up traffic for 2 miles.
That is absolutely correct, sir.
Well, what kind of a communist bunch of crap is that?
That is not a communist bunch of crap, sir.
Sounds like some kind of Neanderthal fascist commie pinko conspiracy to me.
Automobiles to one boat.
Right, exactly.
So the boat is going to stop for 5,000 cars? Is that it?
No, I think that 50,000 cars ought to stop for one jackass in his boat. I think that's what they ought to do.
Man, you better know your laws, mister, because you sure don't.
That's right.
I suppose you want the damn bridges closed to boat traffic in a hurricane, too.
I want the bridges closed, period, okay? I want them closed. I want the bridge tender to go home and watch MTV and get the hell out of our lives.
In other words,
I want those bridges closed. Let them use the Julia Tuttle, okay? Let them use the MacArthur Causeway. I think they all ought to go on the George Washington Bridge and jump, all the bridge tenders. How do you like that, sir?
Well, I don't know about you, but you sound like some stupid, idiotic jerk.
Does Jeff Rimmer kiss Chris Wells behind? Does he have a reason for defending this guy? He's constantly falling and the puck he can't find. Does Jeff Rimmer kiss Chris Wells behind? And ever since they traded Stu, they've been playing real crummy. The reason they gave was to save the team money. And we know that Chris may be a pretty nice guy, but he fumbles and he stumbles and trips on the blue line. Is this the best that Brian Murray can find? The team's in a coma and they'll never say why. Defending it's easy if you lie all the time. Does Jeff Rimmer kiss Chris Wells behind?
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess we'll have to get Jeff Rimmer, too.
Okay. I'm writing it down. It's just, he just go, we'll get Rimmer on. We'll just do a little bit of an open for him or something, and then he'll just go. Actually, we're going to have Rimmer on. I'll start the show, and then I'll leave and go get lunch. I'll come back, and he'll still be talking. He'll be talking. The Rimmer speaks in cliches. Like, he's got this big book of cliches, and he just strings them all together. Like, he cuts and pastes from the cliche book, and that's how he talks. And he says things off the air, the way that things that you'd only ever hear on the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, that young man really captured the crowd's imagination. Who the fuck says that? Who have you ever heard? When have you been talking to somebody?
That makes it funny, though.
I know. I bet he's the kind of guy that if you asked him, hey, where you got that food, he would say, in my grocer's freezer.
Yes.
He would says things that nobody else says. The band's here. They're in the background. They're fine. We got the camera. Just relax. Raid the refrigerator. If you can't. Well, here's how we're going to do it. Here are the rules. If you want something out of the fridge, you got to get the drummer guy to go get it. And then he just hands it over. Obviously, we were not set up to be a live music venue over here. This is just where I do drugs and cheat on my wife, and then we wound up being unemployed, and we had to do something with half of the room over here. So it's okay. I learned that trick from Al Goldstein in pornography. You should always have a cheating apartment, an apartment for adultery, and just have it forever because you're going to need it. If you're married or ever thinking of getting married, you shouldn't get married unless you have an adultery apartment, or your marriage won't survive. And he was right. Still married. 954-99-0036. That's the number you want to call up. We're remembering Neil, sending our wishes. Haven't heard from Alan, of course. I'm doing a lot of things at the same time, so I don't have time to go call Alan. I know he's listening, and I don't know how long it takes for him to change things on the website. He's pretty quick about things like that. But definitely I want the candlelight vigil sign to be
call
a little bit
troll.
more
He'll call right in.
Call what now?
Call him a troll. He'll call right in.
Yeah. Hey, Alan Michaels, you're a creepy little troll. You're a homunculus.
Now the phone will ring.
Yeah, he'll call right away. Change that thing.
Now you're calling me creepy? You're talking about my breath and my brown teeth. That's right. Now see here.
I would talk about your good, pleasant breath and your white teeth, but guess what? It's an honest kind of a radio show.
If only you were here after you left.
Nevertheless, 954-99-0036. I already told people I am getting, as I have been since the stories started hitting the paper, a lot of Facebook messages and a lot of emails and even texts. I told you text from the people that I know. And by the way, if you have my phone number, obviously we've had some sort of interaction over the day. But I don't know who you are. Some of the people. Maybe I should post the rule book for people that I want to hear from. If you are calling me to get me paid or laid, I want to talk to you. Okay? I'm done. The end. I don't know what the policy is for other people, but you either are helping put money in my pocket, or you're helping me get my dick wet. Or why are you calling me? Or you're interrupting my ability to try to get one of those two things accomplished, which is what I try to do from the time I get up tonight. And I got to do the children and the chores and this and that and cycle the things, and these are all duties and activities. And unless you're calling to help me with some of that stuff. Like, are you calling to offer to come over and do my laundry and do my dishes so that I do have bring food so I do have time to pursue my interests or work or something like that? That's fine. But obviously, no, you're very greedy, selfish people that you want me to give you the information that I'm not willing to give you off the air. If you want to know what I know about Neil, and I'm not talking about it on the air and it's a secret, you need to pay me or blow me. And then I will share that information, and then if you're not an attractive girl, blowing me is not an option. So better come with cash.
That's my opinion.
I'm auctioning off my inside knowledge because I'm not going to... And by the way, people in the media, it doesn't matter how much you pay me or how well you blow me. It's not going out there. I'm not talking to anybody in the media about anything that isn't public information. I didn't do it when Neil was all spry and healthy, and I'm not going to do it now. If I wasn't doing it, when I was his producer and co-worker, I'm not going to do it now. So there. Ta-da, the end. And the list continues. If there are people that you can think of, Boca Brian, Joe Castello, the people out there in Radio Land, people that have been a part of the show for over the years, people that you've heard Neil talk about, and you think that it would be a good idea to hear from those people and have them reminisce, going all the way back to even before my time, because there are a lot of people like Craig Worthing. I met Craig eventually after the fact, but Neil and Craig worked together way before I ever did work with Neil. So people like that, people that you think belong on the show either on the phone or in person, will be happy to entertain those people and get them to share their memories and their reflections, especially those people that worked with Neil when he was doing those interview things, like Craig Worthing. And a lot of the people...
let's get Craig on the air.
We will get Craig on the air.
Somebody give him a show.
Oh!
Yeah, I mean, maybe he could get his old sponsor, the Blue Grotto, my friends.
Yeah, that's a capital idea, Boca Brian.
He's not doing that now.
That's a phenomenal idea. I hope, because Neil would talk about him, and I know a lot of the things that Neil said were very exaggerated, to talk about Craig's wealth and how Steve Kane was using him as a guinea pig. I'll talk to Craig and see what Craig says about getting Steve Kane on. What do you think?
All right.
I don't know. See, certain things like Neil's health and what's going on right now are bigger than personal feelings to an extent. Do you follow? But sometimes personal feelings are so personal and so strong that I don't know if I can put them aside. Because Neil really hated him. No, contact Craig, yes, but I mean as far as Mr. Ego goes. Oh. Neil really, really hated the man.
Yeah.
I mean, really hated him. Like, he would bust Stan's balls on the air all the time about the $2,000. Have you got my $2,000? But Neil didn't not take Stan's calls. Neil didn't avoid associating with Stan. You follow? Mm-hmm. Neil didn't hate Stan. He just busted his balls on the air. But Steve, on the other hand, Neil despised him. And Joe Bell.
The official spokesman.
The official spokesperson.
Do they know this?
Do they know it? A lot, yeah. People know it and they don't care. They're either in denial or they don't care, because that's how a lot of people were with Neil. They didn't know, they didn't care. They really were. They operated in denial of it. They were going to interact with Neil whether Neil wanted them to or not. A lot of people, that goes for a lot of people. No one would listen to me. Now, in Joe Bell's case, he was the general manager. He had to interact with Neil. And Neil had to take it because he's the general manager. So Neil couldn't necessarily avoid having conversations with Joe Bell. He would have tried Norm, get in there, get in between. But other people, they had no excuse to be talking to Neil, but yet they would storm their way into the studio. Like they're masochists, like they just really wanted to hear Neil rip them for some reason. Like Johnny Dark, for example, which I don't understand. What about Johnny Dark?
I'm going to be getting those bits. I'm getting close to that debt.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I know that's on there. I just didn't,
I think you had them all.
2.5 hours.
I think you had them all. I went and looked through the cabinet. The only thing that I have are a bunch of old CDs. Now, on those old CDs might be some lost bits because like a lot of the CDs that you gave us stuff on, if you can't find it, it might be in there, of course. No alphabetical order or anything like that. It's just, the CD in the sleeve that I stuck in there. Mm-hmm. But I still have a lot of those things, and for, of course, certainly the best of CDs and some of those Bob Rivers CDs and old Bob and Tom CDs and things like that. Those are around here somewhere, if you think we might need to dip into those.
Okay. I'm going to be getting into that on the not all of Bob and Tom, but...
Right, so the audience has three homework assignments. Get people out there that don't know that we're doing this. That's the first thing, because that'll enable the other two things. Everybody that you know that's listening, or everybody listening right now, everybody that you know that doesn't know that this is going on right now, please let them know about it so that they can join in and participate. And then once we have everybody all gathered up and get the audience all nice and fat like it ought to be, then we need suggestions, bit suggestions. Because eventually they're going to start suggesting things that we forgot existed at all, like you're discovering things like that. Things you forgot that were even out there. That you're coming across. And there's certainly bits that we don't have or don't have handy that we need to be reminded of. And then also, who do you want to hear from? Who should we have on the show to spend some time with us? How about Phil? I heard Phil Hendry wanted to get in touch with him.
Yeah, I don't know if that was real. I saw that.
You don't know if it's real? You know what?
No.
I can find out.
Okay.
I can find out one way or another. Yeah, I would be surprised too.
It'd be nice.
Phil's one of these people, and I'm still not sure what went on there and what happened, quite honestly. And maybe Phil can tell us. How's that?
Okay.
Because at least as far as Phil and I are concerned, we never had a negative moment. It was after he left and the things that he said and things that Neil said and the back and forth that happened as a result of that, led to them not saying nice things about each other on the air. And then, of course, I'm guilty by association as usual. But I don't think Phil said anything about that.
That was classic staple, though. It was always your fault.
It's my fault, yeah. And by the way, Neil would blame me sarcastically for it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, that George, why did you tell me to say those things about Phil? And, he would say things like that.
Yeah.
And I'd be in the other room going, what? What are you talking about? Asshole, what are you saying? I wasn't even here that day. And he'd wave me off. That was one of the first things, speaking of Neil memories. And it's kind of a visual. He would make things up. We would come out of a break, and he would say, well, during the break, George said this and George said that. And it was basically the opposite of everything that I said, with a few just random science fiction made-up things thrown in there for flavor. And I'd be in the other room going, oh, what are you talking about? And then so the segment would end. We'd go into another break. And I said, why did you say that? That's not what I said at all. That's not even close. I was, oh, my God. And he would just wave me up with, two hands. He would just, like
yeah, he would.
He would just put his hands up and then, flick his fingertips down, like, shut up. Like, you don't know. Like, don't you know? And he would say things like that if he needed to go into more details. Like, where did you come to work this morning? Radio station. Right, asshole. Radio station. We're doing a radio show. Did you pull into the wrong parking lot this morning? Did you not see, walk under a big giant marquee with call letters on it when you came to work this morning? It's a fucking theater. We're doing a show. And okay. I just take it. It was my job to take the pies in the face, speaking of vaudeville. So that is the audience assignment. Spread the word, tweet it, Facebook, post it, call all your friends, mass mailing on your mailing list, get everybody to come over here so that we can get the vigil going, light the candle, go on SoFloTelevision.com, light the candle, and then give us bit suggestions and also show guest suggestions, because there are going to be people that, quite frankly, out of sight, out of mind. I'm a big fat stoner, so I don't remember half the people that these people are going to want to be listening to. And in some cases, they're going to be people that are before my time. I go back a long time, but he had a career in radio since 1960. Right. All right, and he hit this town. When did he start in this town? 74?
In this town, 75 WKAT.
75. Okay.
I think 74 was Tampa or Sarasota.
Okay, so 75 in this town. And I started with him in 89. So there was a lot of time in between 75 and 89 where a lot of people. Oh, hey, Dave Caprita.
I didn't know about him until 84 because I was doing work for Herman and McBean and Lee Fowler at the time. And it was until I tuned in. There was big news when he moved to WNWS.
Okay, Lee Fowler's another one that was before my time. Is he alive? He
died a long time. Okay,
nice man. And I know he used to talk about good guys. He used to talk about Bill Calder, and Bill Calder, rest in peace, is another one. Another guy that Neil liked a lot, personally and professionally. And we can't get him on.
No.
So who else? Who else is a name? I mean, we don't have to do this right now. Just make a list off the air. It's not very exciting, not very entertaining.
We can get her.
Hi, Luis Miguel. Play it, baby.
Who, Jennifer Rem?
Jennifer and...
Yeah, no, I'll contact
Jennifer.
Who
was the other one?
A Facebook friend. Who, as far as newscasters, is?
Terry
Griffin. Terry Griffin, I'm in touch with on every other day. Yeah, of course. We'll get Terry on the show. She's still employed in this town. I don't know how gainfully, because she's still in radio, I think.
Okay.
But she's still in this town. That's a good thing. Yeah, no, but this list building, this name building isn't as exciting as Miley Cyrus smoking salvia. But then what is? Did you see that?
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God! I changed my Miley Cyrus score. I call her Miley Cyrus because it upsets my 8-year-old daughter. It's Miley Cyrus! I go, no, she's a Miley Cyrus. She eats. She's a Hannah Montanadon, otherwise known as a Miley Cyrus. Little game we play. Because I like Miley Cyrus way more than I like her dad, because she was actually responsible for writing more than one hit. And at first I started tolerating Miley Cyrus, because anyone that can make your musically inclined little child excited about music can't be all bad. Kind of Elmo. Like, I hated Elmo and wanted to kill Elmo. But he made my daughter so happy, so I had to change my mind about Elmo. All right. Likewise, Miley Cyrus, the whole Hannah Montana thing. I wanted to just throw things at the TV at Hannah Montana, but then I had to humor my child and go download the music and play it for her. And I thought, on a pop level, this is, this is not pop filth. It's okay. No, she wrote some of this stuff and everything. It's like, well, eat your heart out, Dad. Your daughter makes you suck. Makes you look like you suck. One hit wonder. You only pulled one pop tune out of your ass. Look at what your daughter does. So so they got this video of her trying some salvia, which is like fake weed. So normally I would go, dude, fake weed? What? You're Miley Cyrus? You can't find real weed? Are you kidding me? I don't believe that. I don't believe that you don't know where to find the real weed, Miley. But everybody else up in arms, and all the parents are up in arms. I raised her scale, raised the esteem there. And like those racy pictures that she took. She's in show business, you idiots.
Pole dancing, all of these things. Miley, I'm moving you onto the You're Okay list. Moving her right on there. Up a notch?
Yeah. I'm reserving. I'm going to actually, because I started out hating Justin Bieber also because of the name and the haircut. Still hate him because of the name and the haircut. Then somebody told him, it's like, no, you don't understand. They told me the story. He's a musical prodigy. They discovered him because his parents were putting videotapes of him as a freaking toddler. He's wearing diapers and he's playing music. He can play any instrument. He's a freaking musical prodigy. He was discovered on YouTube. And I went, oh, okay. Well, if he...
That was Tia Tequila. No, that was...
no. I don't know.
MySpace.
Who? Miley?
No. What was her name? Tila Tequila, whatever?
No, she's that
like
slut.
Famous. Yeah, so she's famous for being a slut and being on MySpace.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, Justin Bieber, he was on my I'm going to pour gas on him and set him on fire list because he annoys me so goddamn it. Baby. I thought he was another Pop-Tart like the Backstreet Boys or something like that. So he was on my pour gas on him and set him on fire list. And then I found out about the Prodigy thing and everything. And he's just a really musically talented little kid there. So now I'm not going to move him off of the list until he gets a haircut, hippie, until he changes that stupid-ass hair. People, I know, fashions change and things like that. That's not ever going to be in fashion. That kind of haircut that he has, the little girly haircut that he has. That's all you need to do, Justin. Can't be faulted for his last name, can he? It sounds too much like Beaver.
I have no idea who these people are.
Of course not. You don't have any little children. They're kiddie pop stars. If you listen to Y100, they're every 5 minutes. If you take your kids to the roller rink, it's every 5 minutes. Little Justin Biebers. You've heard of the Hannah Montana phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that's Miley Cyrus, and apparently she has some actual talent of her own. I thought initially that she was just, Daddy's going to get her a job in music. Kind of one of those kinds of things where I'm going to hand you over to my producer because you're not ugly and you're my daughter, and they're going to let you have a musical career. Turns out she's got way more musical talent than her dad, which is not saying much, of course, but at least she's responsible for some of those songs that got to be hits. And she can't be all bad. She smokes salvia.
Would I be out of line to say that all of them are flashes in the pan?
Not necessarily. It's too early to tell, actually, really. They're potential flashes in a pan. See, the whole thing, for example, the Miley Cyrus thing, I thought that too. I thought the Hannah Montana thing, this is just, an alter ego, and she did that, and that's gonna be the flash in a pan, and it's gonna come and go. But then she dropped that and started doing more of her own music, and she keeps cutting records, and they keep scoring hits, and she plays.
Okay, well then that makes her an earner. That's different.
So far, right.
Yeah.
I started out with the same opinion, but I try to reserve my judgment. At least I keep my mind and my ears open with regards to some of these people. It's not like, and I'm very prejudiced against the entire phenomenon. We got some hard-working musicians over here that live in their cars in the studio, and we're about to hear what they can do, so my sympathy goes with them. I hate these people that have everything just set up for them that are these paid products, like Michael Bolton, and Mommy gave them money. Oh, you want to be a music star, honey? Here's how much money does it take to buy a career in music. Here you go. Have that much. Buy some TV ads, which is what he did. Fucking faker piece of shit. So
it didn't help Peter Lemongello.
Nothing but contempt for those people. And the boy bands, which is just some fat faggot somewhere holds an audition, and then whichever twink has the best mouth, and I'm not talking singing, they get to be in the band, and then he trains them to be dancers and singers and pays someone to write some pop tune and teaches them how to sing it and has a choreography, teach them how to dance it, and that kind of shit makes me want to throw up, just as it does with you. Sometimes I will presume that that's what I'm seeing when I'll see someone like a Miley Cyrus or a Justin Bieber. And come to find out that no, that these are people with actual musical ability from the time that they were very young and took some lessons and have some songwriting ability. And so even if they are doing pop-tart music, it doesn't mean that they don't have musical ability. They're going for the gold. They're writing and performing pop songs because they want to get paid. You know how that feels, right, Broke O'Brien? Broke O'Brien?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm going to buy you a Justin Bieber wig, and let's see how well you do with it.
Well, maybe
coming up at 2 o'clock, play another nice tribute block. Come back with a jingle. We got the nice people from Known as Major going to be playing live, and maybe we'll have another walk on. I'll explain that to you during the break.
All right, one moment,
last time we had a live performance here, the other starving artist from the neighborhood walked into the studio. It happens all the time, just like when you guys rehearse in the garage, right? Just people walk in from all over the place, or do they usually call the cops? Here, Charlie, here's a thing. In this neighborhood, in case you haven't noticed where you're at, in this neighborhood, nobody would call the cops. Not in this neighborhood. That would be a bad thing for the entire 3-block radius. It's 2 o'clock on Don't Call the Cops Radio. What?
No, I just wanted to say, when I was unloading all these bits, one of them I don't remember doing, and this is like real early Boca Brian. This is going to be on the... like the Beatles anthology.
Is that proto Boca Brian that you did on that Casio keyboard with a built-in cassette recorder?
I completely forgot about this.
You sounded like shit in those days, so it's great. There's wonderful nostalgia.
Yeah.
You've come a long way, baby.
Okay, thanks.
All right, 2 o'clock, SoFloRadio.com.
More listeners than any sports station anywhere. SoFloRadio.com.
Had a bad lunch at the station. Now I'm straight. I'll stay in this room till the pain's all gone. Can't say when I'll be through, but there's always one that hangs on. Hail pop, comet, hail pop, comet, hail pop, comet. That's the place for me. I got my brand new Nikes and I'm ready to die. 8 boys in cello with the rest of the guys. We're going to a spaceship that can't be seen. Our souls will be taken by a particle beam. Castration is the only thing that bothered me. You gotta sit down to pee. You know I think the poison is affecting me. It's the Hail Bob Comet for me.
Hands waving at me, nothing but blue hands on my TV. Blue hands under blue sheets, and they got Nikes on their feet. I never saw the house smelling so nice. Now I'll have to lower my asking price. Nothing but containers lying on beds. All of them weird, all of them dead. Yes, blue hands waving bye-bye. Going to Sirius, Sirius we die. Just do it.
From the land of the free and the home of the talk, this is RadioAmerica.us.
Well, one day, boy, treated Neil and lie. That deal was crummy, and Neil's no dummy, and now he'll take his ratings down the dial. You screwed it up. You screwed it up. You screwed it up, buddy, but Paxton. One day you told him, and he agreed, not to say the word that starts with GD. You've changed that contract 1,000,000 times, so now you've lost Neil and he's saying bye-bye. You screwed it up. You screwed it up. You screwed it up, buddy, but Paxton. Now what you're doing is not that confusing. You bought that station for a loss. You want them all out eventually, so you can broker time on WIOD. You fucked it up. You fucked it up. You fucked it up, buddy, but Paxton. You screwed it up. You screwed it up. You screwed it up, buddy, but Paxton. You screwed it up. You screwed it up.
Tell that Solid bitch to get her batteries recharged. Oh!
UM is not a happy place. It's a goddamn crappy place where everybody hates the sight of your face. QAM is not a happy place. It's a stinking big disgrace. QAM is not a happy place. Jock worshippers who love OJ, backstabbing reprobates. The equipment always breaks. It's a hot and smarmy place. QAM is not a happy place. A real depressing place. QAM is not a happy place. Wonderful WQAM.
Very nice. I really appreciate that shout-out. I'm going to be extra nice to these people. Known as Major, that's the name of the band. A couple people at least pull up some chairs and grab the microphones and, pretend like they're yours. I'm kicking chairs out in front of people. It's very, very casual setting over here. I guess we have Frank. Frank's the guy that's, lead vocal. Even though you're not listed first on your website over here. Is it alphabetical? Why is that? Grab that one. Grab that mic there.
I don't want to be egotistical.
That's nice. I appreciate that. A very humble man. Thank you for that little shout out there. Did you write that just now? Did you stay at home? Were you spitting? Was that spontaneous? Are you like a battle rapper thing like Eminem? Something I've been working on that. I'm not very good. I sound stupid. No, if you're not talking into it, nobody can hear you.
Talking to the mic.
That's my baby sock there. Don't be. I cleaned them. It's cool. All right.
He doesn't wear them.
No, not anymore.
Like the tip.
Yeah, so you were answering his questions because I didn't know. I'm not sure what the rules is. All right, I asked Frank a question, and then Alex answers it. That's okay. Go.
We're all talkers. Yeah.
Y'all talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
How about now? Can you talk now?
No, that hip-hop is a big influence.
Really? Because I was looking at your thing. I tried to do a little bit of research, just a little bit, because I try to sound stupid on purpose. Normally it's by accident, but when bands come in, I try to sound a little stupid on purpose because that way I'm genuinely interested in the answers to the questions as opposed to...
I think it's hard to think, see?
I could ask you questions that I already know the answer to, and then I would say, hey, so how did you guys get together? And then I'll come over here and start tweeting, because then that's not good. Yeah. So this way I can actually be interested for the very first time around. It's listed, it says Reggae Fusion Rock. Yeah. That's you guys, and I know it's you because it's all your same names, although Josh is a moose, apparently. I had no idea.
That's just his nickname because his last name is Musa.
My nickname.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I've known some people, their nickname is Moose, and it's obvious why. It's like you don't look very moosey to me. All right.
Just to let you guys know, the moose is loose.
Oh, okay. Well, you're in the right place. You're in the right place for it. A lot of loose moose and mice in this studio all the time. So it says reggae fusion / rock.
That's just because
explain that because that didn't sound reggae fusion at all.
We just put it's like we fuse reggae into everything we do. Just
because and I hate the labels, but you have to have something.
And that's why it's just so people are like, okay, they're like this style, but
everybody, and especially right now when you're coming up, and that's the thing, that's a dilemma. It's something that I've always hated because I like music that is difficult to label, and every time that I talk to a band, they don't want to be labeled because everybody, especially if they're good, they're trying to come up with something new and original, and they don't want to be pigeonholed, and they say, all right, we're this, and just as like what's going on right now, we are this, and then you play something, and then the person says, well, I thought you said you were that or something. So obviously there's hip hop going on and very spontaneous, off the fly. The spitting, the battle rapping is something like that, which is impressive, and I like that. I appreciate that. I like the mix. How did that all come together?
Just kind of just vibing, just comes out sometimes.
Did you guys because you're all like 12 and 13. I'm kidding. They're all like 21. You met somewhere like school, I'm guessing.
We met jamming. Well, they've known each other because they all went to school together. Huh? Oh, they know each other because they all went to school together. And
Mallory's the manager. She's just you keep on them, so I don't have to. I always sound like a dick saying, "Get on the microphone." So, Mallory, you do that here. In case they get off mic again. That's armed. Don't think that's how we yell at the other bands when they start to get too crazy with us.
Show up.
Yeah. Don't worry, I already talked to the neighbors downstairs. They know that we're going to be making some crazy noise. Where did you meet? Where did you all meet?
One day I just skipping school and I went to Best Buy to just play some instruments, and these two great gentlemen were there.
You go to Best Buy and try out their instruments and pretend that you're going to buy something?
No, we just like to...
The thing is, you got to be in the right state of mind.
We do that.
Yeah, you got to be in the right state of mind to go.
I do that with my daughter. She was very fickle there for a while, didn't know, still doesn't know, so I was like, we'll just go to Best Buy and hang out in the music department. You play on everything until they kick us out.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's where bands meet. I didn't know, because I'm going to start hanging out there more often.
It's usually 15 minutes and they tell you to leave, but... I just walked in. I saw them playing. He was playing guitar. He was playing drums.
Right.
And I just grabbed the bass. I'm like, hey, guys, want to jam?
What's beeping?
Good. It might be the backup power supply, but that's okay. That's a good beep because I spent a lot of money on a giant backup battery.
Want it to work.
We don't. Everything on this side of the building is plugged in. All y'all's electric is fucked, but but over here the show goes on because we're on the backup battery supplies. So
nice.
I don't even know. The internet's still going. I guess we still got power, everything over here. So who knew each other first?
They're cousins.
Oh, they're cousins?
Yeah.
Okay.
So drum and bass, yeah, they're cousins.
So there goes your rhythm section. What made you think to add a saxophone, which is very non-conventional? I've been encountering a lot of sax and clarinet lately, by the way, and, where I haven't been expecting to find it. Like in people's basements and things like that. It's not like the only person that's ever done that. I'm thinking in excess used to really blow the sax, and a rock and roll sax. I have a love-hate relationship with the sax. I saw you unpacking a sax, and I did a little bit of a how's this going to go? Because the saxophone can be amazing. It's all about what you do with it, like fire. It can light up a room, and it can warm you, or it can hurt. And a saxophone can hurt. Like I can't watch those Skinamax movies for two reasons. Number one, it's porn stars not doing porn. So ugly. I don't want to watch ugly people fuck. I certainly don't want to watch ugly people not fucking, and that's what they're doing on those Skinamax movies. And then every movie's got the saxophone, something. It's just but it's random. It's that random jazz saxophone. They're just letting it drift. Let's just see where the saxophone is going to take me this time. It just sounds awful. Saxophone is one of those instruments that can sound really sour and awful. Yeah. It can make me feel bad in the wrong hands. You are okay. So far, so good.
Yeah, we're holding back.
David Bowie likes to play the sax. So sax can be a very powerful instrument. How did you decide to let this guy in? Because he had enough money for the dues, the band dues, or?
It was kind of just we were playing.
I know the story pretty well.
Yeah, you know the story pretty well. Then swap seats over here because I'm curious. I'm drawn towards unusual elements in these kinds of bands. So I want to hear the saxophone story.
This story is interesting. Frankie's dad.
I'll be the judge of that, but go ahead.
All right. We had a gig. I was playing with another band that they had me sit in for the night, and Known as Major was there that same night, and there was a guy in the crowd when I was getting off. He's like, "Hey man, you're pretty good at the sax. Why don't you go play with the next band?" And I told him, well, Frankie wasn't really comfortable in having me play with them because I never rehearsed with them. I had never seen them in my life, and then
one time at that house party.
Yeah, but besides that, and then there's a guy in the back that says, well, if he doesn't let you play, then tell him to get off of the stage and I'll pay you $40 to go up there and play right now.
Wow.
So I went up and obviously, he stayed on and had a great show. And then at the end of the show, I was looking for the manager and I couldn't find him. I'm like, man, where's this guy with my $40? And then so then the next show I see the guy that was the manager. And then I see Frankie going up to him saying, hey, what's up, Dad? So yeah, that's how. And then after that, I ended up joining the band. And
okay, no, it works out. It's a good sound, obviously. Now you got an acoustic setup going on here. Is this just for this performance here? Or is it normally all electric?
Yeah, we're normally all electric.
All electric.
Usually, the next live show, we're probably gonna have congas and timbales.
You can sit on his lap.
Yeah, like timbales. No, man, that's right.
Really? Because I'm picking up a little bit of a Latin accent. How Latin do you get in the music?
Well, we're all Cuban.
Not me, Rodriguez. That's Irish. Right? That's what I tell everybody. And if I say that to an Irish chick, it works. They're like, oh, all right, cool, let's go.
Latin is just like our heritage.
Right.
But
yeah. No, that's why I do the show in English, is because it's all nothing but Cuban shit on the show all day today. Like, what kind of Latin? What brand?
Cuban.
I keep telling people that's it. All right.
Cuban and American.
All right. Cool.
Token gringo.
Colombian.
Oh.
Right, yeah.
No, I was kidding. Just a joke.
Don't like Colombians. You just saw Scarface, right? It's every Cuban has to see Scarface, right? That's my Tony Montana. I just don't like Colombians. That's him, not me. Obviously, I'd make an exception every once in a while.
Papa Juan Pablo.
They're either nice ladies or they're bringing me a big bag of yay. So I like Colombians.
Can't hate on them.
Sometimes, yeah, no. They serve a really important role in the whole food chain of the cosmos and everything like that. Where have you been playing? Is this obviously you guys know Oski, so he's been exploiting you. He's been making money off your work and everything.
Yeah, we actually started as a band this summer, and we weren't even ready to play a show yet, and somebody called us up, another band, that they were playing Transit Lounge, and they wanted us to open, and we were like, it's tomorrow? Okay, man. We'll scrap some songs together, and we played it, and had a great time, and then from there just played at Taurus Grove in the Grove and Churchill's, Tobacco Road.
Right.
We played at some Key show with Oski too at that
Banana Republic or the Pontoons.
Yeah. Banana Republic, man.
I'm never going to get there. It's a schlep.
Oh, at the White Room too.
Okay.
And this Friday we're going to be playing at Tobacco Road, and then after
I think we're going there. I think for some sort of a Jello Jam Fest, Jammy Jello,
we'll be there.
something. Jolly Jam. Yeah,
shout out to Oski.
You know Big Papa E and Khalib, and you know any of those people? Have you worked with them before?
Nah, not yet.
You're gonna meet. Them. Big Papa E, you can hit on him, all right? But Khalib is mine. I mean, like, you'll see me because I'm gonna look like, because she's a big, tall, beautiful Jamaican woman with long dreads. I'm gonna look like her handbag. All right? Okay. I'm going to look like this thing that she's carrying around. I'm going to look like a monkey-shaped backpack. That's how you'll be able to find me. You'd look for a big, beautiful Jamaican woman with long, beautiful dreads and everything, and I'll be the arms sticking out from behind her.
Little arms sticking out of there.
She's going to wear you like Jim Carrey did the Monopoly guy.
Yeah. I'm seeing I don't want to fatigue her or anything like that. All original material, you guys? What?
Yeah, we just do a couple covers at the shows just for fun, you know?
Sure, just for crowd pleasing. You got to fucking crowd. What? Who writes? Who's the writer?
Everybody.
All of us. Yeah.
It's collective.
Yeah. You say that because you're on the radio show?
No, we just make a circle and start writing.
When you guys get really, really popular, who's the one that's gonna? Who's the one that's going to ditch everybody else and go on for a solo career? Who's going to be the Judas? Great. Well, enjoy him while he's here. We'll take another break, another jingle, come back, play some more music, and don't get comfy. If you guys want to stand up or whatever the hell you want to do, I mean, make the best of it. Whatever it's like. And I keep telling people come in and go, wow, this room is small, and I go, is it the smallest room you ever played in? And so far, everybody says no. Oh, all right. Woo! Second smallest. 222 on all small room radio. SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com. We do stuff. He's the biggest, baddest, brawniest rocker of all time, and he's not taking any prisoners. He's Axel Schwarzenegger. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We got everything you want. We blow you all to hell. Axel Schwarzenegger. He's all pumped up and ready to rock. Take me down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Or I'll stick a grenade launcher where the sun won't shine. It's military industrial strength rock and roll the way only Axel Schwarzenegger can tell it. You're one ugly Jean-Claude Van Damme is a f***y. Steven Seagal is a f***it with a ponytail. The only reason I did a film with DeVito is because he could suck my standing up. It's Axel Schwarzenegger exclusively on Terminator CDs, records, and cassettes. If you don't buy this album, I'll be back.
The King is back, bigger and better than ever. Elvis Presley in his first big movie role since he's been dead. Elvis of Arabia. Elvis is true. Yes, it's a completely new Elvis movie with the same old Elvis movie touches. 17 unforgettable babes and 18 forgettable songs, including Teddy Bear, Don't Be Cool, Dying in the Chapel, Blue Suede Burial Shoes, You Ain't Nothing But a Pallbearer, and more. Yes, see Elvis in his stiffest performance yet. He's bigger, better, and deader than ever. Elvis of Arabia, playing in a theater, drive-in, or mortuary near you.
Thank you. Good night. God bless.
Do you know who we are? SoFloRadio.com.
Bring spice to your life with AfterglowParties.com and tickle your fancy with an assortment of pleasure objects and toys, lotions and lubes, massage products, games, candles, and the highly sought-after vibrating sponge. Plus, so much more. Spice up your bridal shower, birthday party, or just a girl's night out. Let our experienced Glow Girls show you how with an afterglow party. Much like a Tupperware party in the privacy of your own home. You'll have a lot of fun trying out the items, and our Glow Girl will explain how to use them. If you want an afterglow party of your own, or just want to place an order, call 305-408-1116 or go to afterglowparties.com. Ladies, you haven't lived until you've experienced your very own vibrating sponge. That's 305-408-1116 or go to afterglowparties.com. We'll never tell.
SoFloRadio.com. Give us a call at 954-99-00036. Skype name SoFlo Radio. Mobile users call 954-99-00036.
Anna Maria, we want to see ya. Summers that just don't quit, and it's warm where you sit. All of us horny guys fantasize that you're by. We pay money to ya to see Randy do ya.
Baby, you melt my jockey shorts.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love. Love's going to weave me. Hello. I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts. Ow. I'm too sexy for that wabbit, too sexy for that wabbit. That wabbit's gonna get it. I'm a hunter. I hunt wabbits. I do my little thing in the forest. Ooh, I'm a hunter. I hunt wabbits. I do my little thing in the forest. I'm too sexy for my bullets. Too sexy for my bullets. I put bullets in my rifle. I'm too sexy for this forest. Shh, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbits. I'm a hunter. I hunt wabbits. I do my little thing in the forest. I'm a hunter. I hunt wabbits. I do my little thing in the forest. I'm too sexy for that wabbit. Pardon me, Doc. Are you talking about me? Oh, yes. I'm going to blast you and use you for swippers. My stars. You are a mental case. And you better put that gun down, laughing boy, before you hurt somebody. Hasta la vista, you little hairball. Agony, 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 agony.
Jorge Rodriguez.
For the woman with the man in mind. On WQAM.
because I might lean on you to play at least more than 2. That is awesome. That's Commotion by known as Major, which I'm going to ask you about that. I know. I mean, I got some theories that I could throw out there, and that's a little bit. That's what you sound like recorded. That's you. Who has a studio? Whose studio are you using? Whose basement are you using?
We have a buddy of ours, an engineer, John Paul Albert, and he has like a production company called Black Cat ENT, and he has it set up at his house, and we recorded the drums,
Okay.
Everything there, did it all.
You said you went to a lot of trouble to record that. Very good. I can see now I can hear the reggae. Obviously, it's not hard to miss. It's either there or it isn't. Reggae rock, very good. I already asked you who writes, and that's everything. So who's writing the lyrics? I mean, that's got to be at least one person, right?
We all put in our 2 cents.
Yeah, we all put in.
Really?
Yeah. We all come with something and then build from there,
And what's your material? We're hungry. We want money. What's the pain that drives you? Most of the musicians, it's either that or like heartbreak.
It's just the love.
Some bitch left you.
A bit of everything,
No, because you're all you're young. You haven't had a whole lot of pain in your life yet, right? Anybody broken homes? Anybody abuse? Sexual abuse? Anybody? Dad have sex with them over there? Well, the saxophone player, I understand.
Hey, he blows on wood the whole time.
That's a big old saxophone. Well, I was going to say, he brought in a saxophone, and it's a really big saxophone. I noticed that it's not a clarinet. Did you? You weren't one of those guys, were you? I was swapping out for the sax player because we always made fun of the guys that played clarinet because it looks like a big black dick. So. And then it looks like, and then they're licking the reed all the time. Gotta lick that reed. Get it soft. So, I tried trumpet. I tried trumpet in band for a while. It's very traumatic. My mom wouldn't let me play drums. That made me play a real instrument instead. So I tried piano. The piano teacher was abusive. I tried trumpet. I had to chap lips. And I would be sitting there in band, and it wasn't a coincidence. I thought that the guys that took up the clarinet turned out to be gay guys. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's all fine. But I thought that obviously, who's going to pick that thing up? It looks like a big... But so back to the original question. Did you start out with clarinet or was it always saxophone?
It was always saxophone from the beginning.
Yeah.
One of my teachers, a music teacher in my high school, his name is Keith Cooper. I don't know if you've heard of the band Artificial, a local hip-hop band.
No.
Well, you should check them out. It's a great band.
I will. I'm writing it down. That's almost like checking them out. That's like first step.
And I was always huge into hip hop, huge into rap, and I was never musically inclined. I was never surrounded by music, and I heard him play the saxophone in hip hop, and I always thought the saxophone was like, that's for like gays and old people. I was like, who wants to play that shit? And I heard him, I was like, wow, you could actually fit it in hip hop, and I started looking into it, and then eventually one day I saved up enough money, bought one, and I ended up studying music now, and
not cheap. Let me tell you something. Saxophones are not cheap, not like any of these instruments are. But that's wild that you would pick up the saxophone because you liked hip hop. My partner that you can't see, Boca Brian over there in Boca, remote controlling the equipment. We go back and forth about hip hop all the time and rap music, and I'm an advocate because I like to take it for what it's worth, and he doesn't think that it's legit as all that because it's just he thinks that it's cheap to produce, and that's why the industry is all in love with it, and that it doesn't take as much skill or ability as a conventional band with real practiced, trained musicians. And so there you go, Brian. Hip-hop music is inspiring genuine musicians to become genuine musicians. Why didn't you, instead of picking up the saxophone...
You're saying it's working in reverse?
Yeah, well, this guy over here learned how to play saxophone because of rap music. Why didn't you want to be a rapper because of rap music? Why didn't you want to rap?
White. Yeah, to start off with, I'm white.
Oh, he's white? Yes, so? Yeah, tell that to Eminem and the Beastie Boys, man. What?
I always like more like an old school hip hop, more like it has a lot of jazz influence on it, a lot of like the bebop style, and it came off of that. So I always liked that, and I never understood why until I heard the actual saxophone be put into it, and
that was all because of Artificial, who I'm not going to check out because I have an excuse, I have a reason to. I want to hear what that sounds. I like mixed genres. I like people that mix it up in a way that it doesn't sound like that ought to be like that. Especially, I really like the mashups. I get a big charge out of hearing like a really good mashup that's like from all like one extreme to the other. Like like the freaking Iron Maiden and Britany mashup or something like that. Something. Actually, I heard an Eminem and Rammstein mashup. It's great. It sounds.
Funny you should say that.
Why? You have a.
Hey kids, you don't have to just sit and listen to your favorite old rock ballads anymore. You can get up and dance to them on Clobbering the Classics. Jam with Janis Joplin.
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes?
I hate Janis Joplin.
My friends
God, I hate Janis Joplin. If she wasn't already dead.
Throw Down with Paul MC Cartney.
Like singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
It's a Neil Young dance party.
I got you knocking at myself. I love you, baby, and I have you.
Get slamming with Simon and Garfunkel. Don't just sit there in your beanbag chair. Get dancing with Clobbering the Classics. Available on 8-track tapes only.
There, awesome. Thank you. Way to punctuate a sentence. I like that you're doing the hip hoppy reggae jazzy thing. First time I heard like Spanish language rap, I thought, wow, this actually sounds like it was made for it. I'm surprised that it didn't start out here first, because of the whole tika-taka-taka way that Spanish is with the short vowels. That's me impersonating Spanish. I have to explain that to people. It actually lent itself really well. What was that guy, like El General or the General or something, when he was doing that stuff? It's like, that works really good. Do you do... no, you play saxophone, and a lot of people associate saxophone with jazz, which under normal circumstances I hate, because it just sounds really random to me. Do you have any desire to do that with the sax? Just that jazzy shit that I can't stand?
Unfortunately, it has to be done sometimes. Like, I mean, sometimes you get called for a gig and it's like a party and, they want jazz standards. I hate it.
Bless you. We're partying.
Yeah. And I'm studying music, so in college they're drilling you with 40s and 50s jazz and bebop.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's okay. The 40s jazz I like just fine. It's this modern jazz fusion shit where it sounds like everybody's making it up as they go along. Everybody's doing something random. It makes me really.
Oh, you mean just
that jazz fusion, like. I got myself into a little bit of a jam. Roger Waters was in town, and I didn't get to go see that. That's how unconnected I've become. I didn't get to go see Roger Waters. I got to go see his son perform the following night on his birthday, and he's a pianist for a jazz band. And the saxophone guy's there, and he's up. And this is like I'm standing right next to Roger Waters. I didn't know.
Wait, time out. We keep talking about this, but standing right next to him we were literally feet away from
right there.
Like there was
3 feet from Roger Waters, and I'm not paying any attention to him.
Thousands of people. There was a couple hundred, and we were just right next to them.
And I was right next to Roger Waters because I was thinking, Roger Waters is going to be here, and I'm right in front of the stage, standing right next to Roger Waters, practically heckling the son on the stage, saying smart-ass shit and during the saxophone solo specifically, the saxophone guy was basically embodying everything that I hate about the jazz saxophone. Doing a solo, and the crowd was amazed. They're going, they're going crazy. And he's up, and I said, I've never played or tried to play a saxophone. I've never picked one up. But I guarantee you right now, if somebody handed me a sax and said, figure this thing out, do something with it, I said I'd be making those exact same sounds right now, just trying to put it through its paces. And the crowd's going, wow, that's amazing, it's great, offbeat to anything else that was going on. And I'm saying that shit. I'm saying that loud. I got a Newcastle. Because I'm Cuban, and I got a fourth Newcastle in my hand. I know when I was Schumann a little bit. And all loud and popping off, and then somebody standing next to me goes, that's Roger Waters right there. And I go, right where? And I'm looking all around. Right where? Right where? Right there. Right there, pointing right next to me. And I went, oh. And I just slunk away, man. I slunk backwards into the crowd and went away. So thank you for saying that, because I just... Boca Brian, my co-host up in Boca, accuses it. It's like if I were a learned musician, I'd like it more, I'd appreciate it more. And I'm like, I'm not a trained cook, but I know when something tastes bad. That's my defense. Maybe I will go take some music classes to see if jazz sounds better at that point. So
It doesn't. I still think it sucks.
Think you feel better. I really like what you're doing with the sax. I really like how it adds with how it blends in with everything else. Who the hell would be calling me now? Oh, it looks like a creditor or something. I don't know. I want to take another break, come back, because you guys got a lot of, you set up and you've got a lot of original tunes. I already established that. Thank you for the recording. Definitely going to see you on Friday. We're going to do another tune, come back and promote the Jello Festival. What's it called?
Jolly Jam Festival. Right?
No, I got it on my calendar. I don't remember. Jolly Jam. Why am I thinking Jello? Because I want some.
You're a perv like that.
I'm hungry. The last time I was there was Jello wrestling with the Derby Girls, which is, and they don't use the kind of Jello that you want to eat afterwards. No, it's just it's.
Did you try? Did you taste that?
It's flavorless. It's flavorless before they wrestle in it. Yeah, flavorful afterwards, right? It's tuna flavored afterwards. It's 18 till 3 on all Tuna Jello Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com. We do stuff.
Hey, baby, see the she effing going ho. I jam K in a limo. Peculiar STDs. You HIV? What's up? Actual
A new film from Empathy Pictures. Dances with Crack Dealers. The urban sequel.
My name Dunbar. John Dunbar, the fourth.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm MC Def Jam, and this here be Curly Mo D. And we want your Monet.
Dances with Crack Dealers. John Dunbar IV goes looking for the ghetto.
I mean, what you doing down here anyway, white boy? What happened, Jack? You sleep to your subway stop.
What he finds is the ghetto within himself.
You guys want to come into my brownstone? We could rap over a cup of espresso and...
Coffee? Oh, ain't no buzz in that, man.
Yeah, baby, why don't you try some of this?
Dances with Crack Dealers from Empathy Pictures. Coming.
SoFloRadio.com. We rub you the right way.
SouthFloridaDiscounts.com. SouthFloridaDiscounts.com. This website is crazy. SouthFloridaDiscounts.com. Electronics, dining out, real estate, automobiles, boats, yachts, golf clubs, crazy discounts, jewelry, and more. SouthFloridaDiscounts.com. SouthFloridaDiscounts.com.
After rocking South Florida for over 30 years, she's back. And she's South Florida's classic rock again. She's only rockandroll.com.
She's only
This traffic update is a service of the only sponsor we got. It's a parking lot now on the Palmetto Expressway. You know, we got the usual delays. It's rush hour. We got a few collisions. One on 27th Avenue, another one on 47th Avenue. Could be northbound, I don't know. Might be southbound, I don't know that either. Could be eastbound. We don't know. We can't see nothing from this room. It don't have no windows. It's backed up on major problem all the way around the big curve. And I'm not talking about my ass. That's your eye spy. Don't shoot me out of the sky of traffic. From your traffic chica, I say yes, WIIIOD. Okay, Steve, how was that? Do you think I could have the job, please? I got a great eye.
Tell that Rick Sanchez to squat on this. Oh!
There was this kid who could stick his hand under his arm and make disgusting sounds, and then he'd stick his tongue out, and then he turned his eyelids inside out. He drank a glass of milk from a straw stuck up his nose.
All right, woo! Very good. Let me turn the microphones back up because I'm like shouting into a dead microphone. Very nice. Come back up over here. Ober here. Might have to let you play another one out, but at least we got 5 minutes because you're all over the place. And I definitely want you to let the audience know where they can find you. That's all part of the concept, you understand? Is you play a little bit of music, and then these people go, wow, where can I go hear these people? Besides at the studio that they're not allowed to visit. The secret studios over here. Don't do that Facebook places thing. Check in. Yeah, don't check in from here. But I just saw the landlord walking around checking in, so I'm glad we have the front windows closed. But the palatial penthouse studio apartment that we have the show out of, the entire top floor of a downtown Hollywood apartment complex. Pretty classy, right?
Yeah.
For poor people. You're going to be all over the place. We were talking during the break, of course, at Tobacco Road, that Jolly Jam, which does not involve jelly.
No, at all.
But you're going to be
Jello.
And then you're going to fly out of there. Why am I banging on this table so much? No jelly, no Jello. No. But it will be you guys. And then right after that, you go somewhere else, and I just wrote down 11:30. I have no idea where that was.
That would be Jada Cole's in Miami Beach. Vinyl and Kai.
What?
The last show.
See,
that was the last show.
I'm glad I didn't write it down.
It's all a blur.
I understand, like all the shows I do.
Yeah, like every place you play, it's a blur. You just forget the name.
11:30 at something in Miami Beach?
At Vinyl and Kai on Washington and 11th.
Violent Kai?
Vinyl, like records.
Oh, vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl.
What's that?
And Kai. Like
K-A-I?
Yeah, like K-A-I, Kai.
Okay, Vinyl Kai, Miami Beach.
Yeah.
At 11:30, because you're musicians, you get all around. You've got to do that just so you can all make like $50 in a night, right? You got to hit 2 or 3 places. No, am I exaggerating again?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sometimes, hopefully.
One of these days you'll be so high paid. I understand. I started out having musicians on the show because they were friends of mine that I worked with that had, hey man, plug our band, and so of course I'm going to the shows to support them, and here's all these other starving motherfuckers going, hey, plug our band too. And I hope nothing for the best for all of the local music down here. I'm a big believer in the local music. There's a lot of talent in this town. You hear it. You also probably hear a lot of bad music when you're out there. You wonder. No, yeah, you do. You do. I've gone to see friends' bands, and then the bands around them, like before and after. Like, what's their excuse? They're obviously friends with somebody more important than me, like the owner of the club.
The scene's rough. It's rough, right?
It is rough as in hard to
break in, and hard as in like good sounding stuff.
What
to find good sound?
Well, how do you react when because obviously you got a good sound and you work hard and you practice. How do you react when you're followed by a band that just sucks? And there's really no other way of saying it. And they suck because you hear it. Yeah. You hear the lack of practice, the lack of polish.
I don't know. We kind of feel better about ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kind of feel like the crowd. That last band was better. So
I don't know. People I guess that's my reaction too when I hear radio hosts that suck. Although I get a little bit jealous, going, how come they have a career? How come they have a living and they're schlockmeisters? They really suck. So, but on the other hand, they're an inspiration because I feel like
if they could do it,
if they can make a living while sucking, then some of us can make a living while sucking a little bit less. And then on Saturday the 18th, you've got another gig going on.
Yeah, at White Room. It's going to be a remembrance show in remembrance of Ernie Lama.
Okay.
Ernie Escobedo.
Yeah. For the Lama Beach.
2 different people, or
no? It's him.
It's one friend of ours that passed away recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of the Lama Beach.
The show is in remembrance of him, of his passing.
And that's the one on the 18th.
It's Ernie's Burger Bash.
Formerly the White Room. Where's that at?
On 14th and North Miami Ave in downtown. Yeah.
It's at the station with the white curtains.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has like in the station. Sorry. It's a old music. Google it later. It's hysterical. Boca Brian jokes. It's amazingly funny stuff.
Oh, they have curtains there. He nailed it.
It's a Cream song.
Oh.
From the old days. Oh. Does get it?
You put in coffee. Just a spoonful. He does that on purpose. Don't worry. He does it to me, and I'm old. But guess what? He's older. So I'm swabbling over here. Yeah. It's okay. It's Monday. We went. You know. I almost just to let you know. You guys made the cut because I called Oski and I said just send me the better band. Because, we got a lot of material to cover today. I got a lot of things I want to say about Neil Rogers. I already explained who that was, and what's going on, and a lot of people doing. Speaking of memories and remembrance. Oh, look at this. Look at Oski. I told Oski, send me the one that sucks less. Send me the better band. And Oski sent you guys over. What do you think about that, Oski? I'm talking to you, man. Oh no, it's not Oski. Wait a minute. I forgot how to switch things around. See how ghetto we are over here? I had to switch things around so that I could play your CD without being interrupted. Yo, Oski.
What's going on, buddy?
Nothing.
How you guys today?
These guys are very good.
Oski?
Well, they're very good. They're very good guys, very humble, very, very, very pleasant to work with. I love these guys.
Wow.
Thanks for sending them to us.
If you say that, if they kiss your butt, do you get them more gigs? Is that why you're being nice to them?
The most important part of getting more gigs is by being a good band.
Okay, yeah.
And getting to the shows on time. And participating in the promotion as they're participating today by going to the station.
Right, man.
And promoting their band and promoting what's happening.
They were here early.
Making noise.
Yeah, making noise. It was great.
Following directions.
They parked. They totally parked where we told them to park, man. I'm like, I got a tear and shit from it.
All the way to the left or to the right, not in the middle.
Yeah, not in the middle, because otherwise somebody's going to be interrupting our performance over here. No, I appreciate these people, Oski. They're very good.
I'd like to invite you guys tonight to Tobacco Road. We're having a Musicians Monday.
Oh, that Musicians Monday thing. That's
incidental food. It's for your diet.
Right. Free barbecue dinner.
Wow. I keep forgetting that's going on. Let me find out. Let me find out if I can. I might be on a mission of mercy, but if I'm available, I'll definitely do that, all right?
You should come by. I learned this from one of my Jewish friends. You never turn down a free meal.
I know, and this is all part of it. I got a new diet going on called the incidental food diet. It's where you don't buy any food ever, and still you gain weight because everywhere you go, food. Here you go. I'm telling you. It's a great diet.
Especially during the holidays.
Don't buy any food. Wherever you go, there's some there. And not just food there, but somebody forcing it on you, like, oh, you got to have some of this.
I'd like to say something on behalf of the Jorge Rodriguez Show. Those of you guys who are listening, the guys that are in the band that are there today, we need you guys to go to the website, and there's a little thing there where you can donate some money to the station. Because
oh yeah, man, give us money.
stuff that George is doing, George won't do it, but I'll do it for you, George. You guys got to support. The only way we know of supporting is by throwing a couple dollars his way. If we can get the bands that are being plugged today and the bands that are utilizing the service, even myself, to send some money into George every once in a while, it's going to help out. And
thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep this going.
I got the tear going.
I do. I have a tear because this is the only.
I've already offered. I already told you what we're going to do. We're going to do the Jorge Rodriguez on the SoFloRadio.com music festival.
Yep.
It's definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to happen.
At Tobacco Road. Oski, you make me cry, man.
It doesn't matter. It could be at Tobacco Road. It could be anywhere. You know where I want to do it, but you don't want to do it there. I want to do it there.
No.
To the left or to the right.
Secret. No, man. And then the neighbors would hate me for that. It's like, man, don't pay any attention to this part of the hood, man. What you talking about?
No, but you know what? We can do that Tobacco Road, and I think it'll be a huge success. We can do it every year. We can do it quarterly, maybe every 6.
Right.
We can call it the semi-annual festival. I've never heard of
we got places. If not there, I would love to do it at Tobacco Road. But if not there are places. I mean, I know people with empty lots. They don't have much else, but they got lots of lots.
Well, we definitely want to have a place that's set up to accommodate some people. We don't want people to come to the SoFloRadio.com music festival and not having a facility that can house it. So we don't want people peeing in porta potties. You know what I mean?
Oh, no problem, man. T-Road more than qualifies.
Love you, Oski.
And if you have a spot we can do them proud, I don't have a problem with that.
It's all good. No, we'll talk about it. We'll actually have a meeting. I got people that are I'm allowing to take over the business operations. So we'll sit down at a table with them and figure out the best way to do it. I sing and dance and crack funny jokes. That's my job. That'll be my job.
Well, I'm really good at shucking and jiving myself.
All right, excellent. Oski, thank you very much. You sent the right act over here, man. Thanks for being cool and understanding. We've got heavy shit going on.
No, for sure. And my condolences go out to Neil Rogers.
Right on, man.
And his family and his radio family.
Go light a candle. All right, Oski, we're out of here, man. Running out of time fast. All right, take it easy. Jorge Rodriguez, Boca, Brian, Monica, known as Major. Don't forget this Friday, Tobacco Road. I'm going to be there. You be there, too. These guys are great. I'm going to be buying them drinks. They're buying us drinks.
Bye. You can visit the website, knownasmajor.com. Check out the band.
Yeah. Or their Facebook.
Bye-bye.